Dog, have you ever watched Hey Arby's videos? Like, they're terrible. Like, I don't understand like why people preach this guy, act like he's like some like God saint of all time. He's more entertaining than you. You're boring. No, he's not. Go away with that.
How about Hey Arby 1v1 Wings and Rainbow or any other game?
Dog, Hey Arby couldn't do shit, dude. There is nothing on this planet Hey Arby can do better than me. Not a thing. Not one single thing. And I'll go so far. Like basketball, fighting, racquetball, pulling bitches, nothing. Not a single thing Hey Arby on this planet can do better than me.
Is this like a new troll channel or what? Like, I've never heard of it. I know like everyone else, but
I wouldn't necessarily call him new, but like, you know, he's the hotness right now in this. And I wouldn't call it the hotness. He gets like 400 views. Man, Hey Arby never even got to 1v1 with a girl in his life. Why would he want to try to 1v1 with a real man like me? They announced Fallout 4. And all of a sudden I had a reason to live again. Because I wanted to play Fallout 4.
Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Hey Harvey, aka Hey Avery, aka Hey Harvey, aka Regional Supervisor of Rent-A-Center, store number 478, aka the God Saint. Of all time. AKA the hotness right now, AKA the dude that sits alone in an apartment he rents. Alright, so I told you guys that we would be doing a long form video here. Well, we found it, and shout out to, is it Vlade? VLADE for the video, Vlade. Title of the video, The Dark, Sad End of Wings of Redemption, YouTube's oldest LOLCOW. So, this is a 3.5-hour video. We're going to break it up into 2 parts. You guys seem to like the other video. I don't mind doing longer videos. If people watch them, I'll do them. Pretty, you know, I got no problem with that. I've never been against doing longer videos. It's just, I just wasn't getting a lot of traction with longer videos. So, we're going to give this one a try. As always, huge shout out to all the members, all the supporters. I am so excited for this because, it's gonna. I'm really excited to see some of the older stuff. So, all right, enough for me. Here we go.
Look here.
Yes.
Look, listen. That is an awesome thing. That's a compliment.
It's not an awesome thing. It hits you all at once, dude.
God, look at Keemstar. He just always has to be. Has there ever been a time when Keemstar just did a stream or a video without a hat on? Holy shit.
Have you ever? Well, you probably have.
You gotta look at it. Glass half full. Glass half empty.
I'm not interested in anything, dude. I turned the only interest I had in life into my job. I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
All I want to do is have a good time.
It's like I was getting lonely. I want to just stream and have a good time. Maybe have a good game.
In the vast and chaotic world of online gaming, legends are not born only through skill, but through the personalities behind the screen. Some creators rise to fame through unmatched talent, others through charisma or controversy. And then there are those whose stories go beyond the games they play, stories that grow into myths, cautionary tales, and internet lore. Among these figures stands Wings of Redemption, from lashing out at friends for doing exactly what he had asked of them.
Fuck! Why the fuck you stream that shit?
It was your idea.
No, I didn't say.
I thought it was your idea.
2. Throwing his own wife over a table.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I thought there was an ogre on me.
Jordie was never the kind of person you would expect to find in the spotlight. He did not have a polished image or a carefully managed persona. What he had was a voice and a willingness to use it. At a time when YouTube gaming was still raw and unrefined, Jordie spoke directly to his audience in a way that felt different, unfiltered, almost brutally honest.
And it's true. A lot of these guys have fake personalities on their commentaries, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a good business decision, but I can't bring myself to do that.
His earliest videos were simple, just gameplay layered with his thoughts. There were no flashy edits, no gimmicks, no attempt to dress things up. It was a man with a microphone telling it how he saw it. For viewers searching for something authentic, this was enough. Jordie's commentary
Something authentic? Oh my gosh.
connected.
What?
And in those first years, he rose quickly, joining the ranks of the early pioneers who were shaping the future of gaming content.
It's the only reason he got to where he's at. It's the only reason he has 400,000 subscribers is because he was early. Not because he has any talent, not because he has any skill. It's because he was early. That's it. That's it. Because he was in a position where he could sit on his fat ass, not have to earn any money to survive. Didn't he say in 1 year he made $9,000 in a year? That is insane to me, dude. That is absolutely insane to me as an adult, not as a teenager. I mean, I can't imagine a scenario where I ever was able to say, yeah, I could live off of $9,000 in a year.
The internet has a way of turning strength into weakness. The same honesty that drew people in also revealed sides of Jordie that were harder to ignore. He spoke openly about his struggles, his frustrations, his ambitions, and over time audiences began to notice patterns. Promises of change, glimpses of new beginnings, followed by silence, or by a return to familiar ground. Energy that seemed bright at first, but faded quickly. His story, even in those early years, was never just about gaming. It was about a man trying to find direction in real time while the world was watching. And the world did watch. Every upload, every live stream, every moment of tension or self-doubt became another piece of a larger narrative. Some fans sympathized, others mocked.
I would like to also take credit for the fact that now he has to raise his camera, like I have mine right now, to hide his flapjack titties.
And soon Jordie Jordan was no longer simply a voice in the gaming community. He had become a character, a figure both celebrated and ridiculed, whose life played out in clips, memes, and debates across the internet. Yet behind all of it,
And anyone that defends this idiot or is a fan that unironically watches him, they're just like him. There's just no normal, sane person that looks at this guy, look at how he acts, look at how he speaks, look at the stuff he has said, and goes, yeah, I want to give this dude $5 and then all my time.
behind the noise and the spectacle, there remains the man himself, caught between what he wanted to be and what the internet decided he was. This is his story, the story of Wings of Redemption. But stories like Jordie's are not told in a straight line. They are shaped by moments, sudden turns that shift everything. For Wings of Redemption, the first of those moments arrived early in his career, around 2011. Would follow him for the rest of his career. In 2011, Wings and his friends invited one of the biggest names in the Call of Duty scene onto their podcast. Their guest was Syndicate, widely regarded at the time as the best Call of Duty Zombies player in the world. Wings grew combative. He insisted that he was the better player, not just in Zombies, but in Call of Duty as a whole.
Compared to like the guy we just saw in PKA.
Now look, dude, I'm not gonna sit here and act like when I was in my early 20s, like 18, 19, 20, 21, that me and a big group of my buddies would get together and play video games, and there was always that one person who thought they were better than everybody else and would beat everybody else for the most part. And that person was me. I was dominant in Madden, dominant college football. And, dude, there was one, I'll never forget this. I mean, the very few times I lost, you know, the one time I did lose, it was in front of like 30 people. And they were all against me, and they all, and it was awesome. So I can't imagine doing, you know, what Wings did in front of thousands of people. That's a huge L. But he didn't take, you know, I didn't, you know, when all that went down, I didn't, like, throw the controller. I mean, I was pissed, don't get me wrong, but, like, I lost. Like, this dude doesn't know how to handle losing, even to this day. It's so pathetic.
Yeah, saying, you know, Tom, trust me, I'm better than you at Zombies.
Yeah, but see, I really do think.
He pointed to his achievements in other games, boasting about unlocking rare trophies and mastering difficult titles.
I mean, how many games have you seen play where I wasn't really good at? Like, I just posted Dead Space. I started playing Dead Space 3 days ago, and I did the toughest achievement in the game.
To Wings, these were proof that his skill level could match or surpass anyone's. Syndicate, to his credit, tried to keep the conversation respectful. He told Wings that confidence was important, that every good player should believe in themselves.
Having confidence behind yourself is always a great thing. If you go through life going, I'm not the best, someone else is the best. You know, you're not exactly.
But as the back and forth continued, Syndicate pressed the point. Was Wings really claiming to be the best Call of Duty player? Wings hedged. He said he was the best.
And look, and here's so the point of that story was, like, once Xbox Live happened, once playing on the internet happened, my whole attitude of I'm the best Madden player ever changed really quickly when you started playing other people outside your little neighborhood. You know? And once that happened, I got humbled real quick. It's like, okay, holy shit. I am trash.
Commentator who played, and that in a normal multiplayer setting he could.
So to think that at this moment in time, which is still like, you know, this is Call of Duty 4, to think that he's the best player in the world is asinine.
Playing with the very best, leading his team to victory more often than not.
I'm not the best Call of Duty player, but I bet you if you put me in the same room as the best, I can hang with him.
However, when challenged about the kill-to-death ratios, he brushed it off, saying other modes inflated the stats.
I mean, just because you have a high KD, like Mark J has a way better KD than I do, mainly because he plays ground war. You got to factor in those extra 3 people, and you got to average those into chopper gunners.
And when his past one-on-one losses were brought up, he had an answer ready. Those matches weren't realistic, he
I mean, that's a very valid point.
claimed. They didn't reflect how Call of Duty was really played.
He actually did have a very logical explanation for that. That's very, yeah, okay.
You have to beat him. You know, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Like,
I don't have to beat him. I beat him so many times in a regular room. And Call of Duty is not a one-on-one environment. The situation where Fearcraz and all them won, the thing you and Syndicate were in, that's not a realistic scenario. The fact is, it's 12 people on maps that you have people spawning in front of other people. There was times where I seen like the Game 360 go on a negative 14 kill streak. Like I even commented on it because I was the one doing the color commentary on that shit.
To his critics, it sounded like excuse after excuse. A man protecting his ego, and the live chat noticed. Messages flooded in, mocking him, telling him to stop. Wings lashed out, threatening to ban anyone who repeated it.
I think that's a good policy.
By the way, anybody that told me to shut up, you're getting banned from the stream.
Yeah, guys, knock it off on the.
Oh, and then this. Oh gosh, and he's just as bad.
Shut up thing.
Oh my god.
Then came the moment that changed everything. Syndicate didn't insult him, didn't mock him. He simply offered a challenge. He said he'd never played Wings before, and that plenty of people claimed to be the best, but if Wings truly believed it, they could settle it in a match right then and there.
I would go
Don't
for
use
it.
your 10 sensitivity versus my 2
I'm
sensitivity.
not the person who's like, if I lose, I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, I'd do it for the fun of it. I'd go for it.
Let's do it.
So what map are we playing?
Wings agreed, but only under one condition. He had to be the host.
He's going to be
Oh,
playing
yeah.
across the street. I'm not going to play unless I have host.
After some back and forth, the group settled on a compromise. Woody, another member of the podcast, would host as a neutral party, but it wasn't truly neutral. Syndicate was connecting from the United Kingdom, while both Woody and Wings were based in the United States.
Which, back then, you know, in 2000, what was it, 2002, 2003 maybe, 2004, that actually mattered big time back then.
The result was an uneven playing field, with Syndicate fighting against a noticeable disadvantage in connection. Besides that, Wings even played a warm-up match with another host while Syndicite was busy setting up his Xbox. The map was chosen, a map which Wings claimed he had never lost in, the weapon selected by Wings himself. By all accounts, the match was tilted in his favor. This was supposed to be his chance to prove himself, live in front of thousands.
Like, I could put up a fight against, you know, in like COD 4 2 with the war, and then throw me in
Dude,
against Black Ops.
you would
and
get
I'd
destroyed in World of War. I have never lost.
As the game began, things looked promising for Wings. Early on, he managed to keep pace, trading kills with Syndicate and holding his own. But as the match wore on, Syndicate began to adapt. Slowly but surely, the balance shifted. The gap widened, and before long, Wings found himself falling behind. The final score was clear: 14 kills for Syndicate, 9 for Wings. A decisive loss, especially under conditions Wings himself had pushed for. At first, the banter was playful, but as the score tilted against him, Wings' tone grew harsher. What had started as light trash talk became frustration, then anger. When the game ended, that frustration boiled over. On stream, Wings muttered a bitter "fuck you" in Woody's direction, then hurled his controller across the room. The crash was sharp and unmistakable, ringing out for everyone watching live. Moments later, his voice cut through again, furious and humiliated. Why did you even stream that?
Oh, so you're not gonna also mention the slur he said? No? Okay.
You streamed that shit.
It was your idea.
No, I didn't say stream.
But the irony was impossible to ignore. The stream wasn't Woody's idea. Wings had made sure the match was broadcast. Earlier in the same conversation, amidst his trash talk, he had insisted they play right then and there, and that it be streamed live. Syndicate may have issued the challenge, but it was Wings who demanded it be immediate, public, and definitive.
I'm not going to play unless I have host.
Game Dunzo, baby.
Ooh.
We're doing this now. You want to go buy the Game Dunzo server? Be my guest.
No. We can set that up, right? Already up server?
Yeah.
His confidence had been absolute. He had even joked that people would need to pay him $1,000 to play in the future. But for now, he was giving Syndicate the chance for free.
How much money you paying me?
You get none of my money.
You can do it for free right now, or you
I
can
don't
pay me like
want any
$1,000 later.
And yet the very moment it all fell apart, Wings wanted it erased. Almost immediately after his outburst, he demanded the stream be ended, even though the others were prepared to continue.
I don't give a. Please cancel the stream. I do not want to hear these talk.
Oh.
The spectacle he had created, the match he had forced into the spotlight, was cut short at his request, leaving behind only the sound of his anger and the memory of a meltdown that could never truly be taken back. For Wings, this wasn't just a loss. It was a collapse of the image he had been building, a moment where the confidence he wore like armor cracked in front of thousands. To the audience, it was unforgettable. To Wings, it was unbearable. The match he demanded, the match broadcast at his own insistence, became the moment that defined him, not as the best Call of Duty player, but as someone who cracked under pressure in front of a community that would never let him forget it. The meltdown would go on to define Wings' reputation for years, but moments like this don't come out of nowhere. The anger, the defensiveness, the need to prove himself, it all had roots that stretched far deeper than a single Call of Duty match. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to go back to Wings' early life, to the struggles that shaped him long before YouTube ever knew his name. Born on April 21st, 1986 in South Carolina, Wings' story began under circumstances that would shape much of his future. His arrival into the world came as the result of a teenage pregnancy, and almost immediately, instability marked his life. His father, an alcoholic, chose not to stay.
Wait a minute.
Abandonment.
Oh, wait, what? So every time he makes fun of people, oh, your daddy didn't love you. Oh, your daddy didn't love you. Your daddy. Oh, my gosh, that's where he gets it from. Oh. And then also to add to this, wasn't you know, there's been several people that have commented this on my whatever on some of these videos. He said they were related, right?
Came early, and the young boy's family relied heavily on his grandparents for shelter, living together in a small trailer because his parents were too young and too unprepared to support him. In fact,
too young. He said his dad was like 40 and his mom was a teenager, right?
There's information floating around online that suggests Jordie might have actually been the product of an incestuous relationship.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
while it's hard
God.
to verify whether there's any truth to that claim, the rumor has been repeated enough within the community that it became part of his internet lore.
I don't think it's a rumor. I think he said it. I think he said his parents had the same last name or something.
And when he tried to look it up,
just beyond disgusting.
Found this video on Reddit where Wings himself mentioned it. He said that his mom and dad both were Jordans and that they were never married.
Oh, there it is. Maybe I should just keep my mouth shut.
Oh
God, and you have the clip. Oh,
cousins, and you know, it's all over it. Like Family Guy makes jokes of it and stuff like that.
Well, it's not rampant like that. It's not. But like I'm the wrong person to ask for that because my parents actually work somewhat related.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. It's been proven that if you're a product of that, you have lower IQ by default, right off the rip. God.
My daddy was a Jordan and my mother was a Jordan. It was never married.
My daddy and my mama.
Married.
So yeah, there is that. But
oh,
even in those earlier
so gross.
years, hardship found its way into Wings' life. While playing with his brother, a baseball bat slipped and struck him in the head, causing severe swelling and leaving him at risk for further complications. The incident didn't impair his thinking, but it was a stark reminder of how quickly circumstances could turn against him. Yet despite the instability, Wings was not without ability. According to him, in those early years, he was physically fit, often finishing first in races and games at school. But that streak ended around the age of 6.
No way.
When a foreign exchange student joined his class. Suddenly, the contest he once dominated slipped away. No matter what he tried, this new presence always outperformed him. The realization stung. For Wings, being outshined wasn't just a loss, it was a blow to his identity. And so, in a child's logic, he decided that the only way to reclaim his spot on top was to grow bigger and stronger. He asked his grandmother for more food, believing that size alone would make him unbeatable. She gave it without question, never knowing that this choice would mark the start of a lifelong struggle. Instead of growing stronger, Wings grew heavier, and the weight he put on quickly became another burden to carry. By the time he was still just a boy, his body had already begun to change in ways that made him stand out. The athletic future he once imagined faded as his weight grew.
There's nothing about him. There's no like hidden athletic person underneath all that fat. Like what? Dude, what are you talking about? No way.
And with it came social isolation. Making friends was difficult, and fitting in was nearly impossible. And as the doors of sports and popularity closed, another door opened, the world of video games. Games became more than entertainment. For Wings, they became an escape, a place where the ridicule of classmates and the weight of insecurities couldn't reach him. In digital worlds, he could be powerful, respected, even admired. It was the beginning of a bond that would carry him through much of his life. But outside of games, reality continued its steady march of difficulty. Wings, his mother, and his brother eventually moved into Section 8 housing, government-subsidized projects that exposed him to a harsher environment. According to him, the neighborhood was so unsafe that even as a young child, he was required to have an ID card made because missing children were often reported. For a boy only 6 or 7 years old, this wasn't just unusual, it was terrifying. As the years passed, his struggles didn't ease. His weight climbed rapidly, and by high school, Wings was 6 feet tall and 240 pounds, a size that made him stand out for all the wrong reasons.
Holy shit.
It was during this time that he was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and social anxiety, two conditions that made the task of fitting in even harder. Making friends felt impossible. Yet eventually there were small breakthroughs. He found companionship in a girl named Kelly, and slowly he managed to build a fragile circle of friends.
Roommate.
But those connections were fragile, and hardship wasn't finished with him yet. Now, for those of you who have been following Wings for a while, you already know exactly who Kelly is, and the role she's going to play as this story unfolds. But for those who aren't as familiar, don't worry. Just keep in mind that Kelly is an important figure in Wings' life, and her name will come up again later as we dive deeper into the story. For now, let's just go back to his early friend circle. One night, while living in the projects, Wings became the victim of his second serious injury. A man attempted to steal his mother's car. In an act of defiance, Wings tried to intervene. His courage was met with violence. A gun went off and the bullet lodged in his leg. The wound would stay with him, both as a scar and as a reminder of how dangerous his environment had been. Despite these challenges,
no way. No way.
Wings entered the workforce. His first job was at a grocery store, where he was tasked with restocking and cleaning shelves. But monotony weighed on him, and in just 2 weeks, he quit.
Bullshit. That's not monotony. He's lazy. That's too much work. That's lazy.
That decision, though small at the time, foreshadowed a pattern that would echo throughout his life. A struggle with consistency, with sticking to tasks that didn't engage him.
I will never work at a grocery store again. Grocery stores are generally... I think I worked 3 days at the IGA as a whole. And to this day, it's probably the only job I've ever quit. And the reason I quit was it was so mind-numbingly boring. You know...
Right. Sure. No, you're a lazy fat and you couldn't stock shelves.
Not a boring job working at a grocery store. I mean, you pretty much front shelves all day.
From there, he tried his luck at a video rental store. The job seemed better suited to him, surrounded by games and movies, but even there, danger followed. One day, 3 armed robbers stormed the store. Wings survived, but the trauma of being held up stayed with him. Not long after, he left that job behind too. Next came
any proof of that?
A stint as a Domino's delivery driver.
Big Larry used to, when I was a pizza delivery driver, Big Larry was so big, like he had to be 600 plus. But he'd always order. I'd always know him. When I seen the order, I knew it was Larry's order before I knew where I was going. He didn't tip either.
The pay was modest, but the risks were high. On one delivery, he was ambushed, struck on the back of the head with the barrel of a shotgun, and robbed of just $20. It was a
Again, is there any evidence of this?
humiliating
Did he file a police report?
and terrifying experience. And eventually, a conflict with
I don't believe that unless there's some sort of proof.
the manager ended that job as well. Still searching, Wings found work as a 911 operator. For 2 weeks, he sat
What? What? A 911 operator? Oh, stop.
at a desk, fielding calls, but the stress and responsibility quickly overwhelmed him. Once again, he was let go. By this point, young Jordie had already cycled through several jobs, each one ending in either resignation or dismissal. Restlessness followed him everywhere. He struggled to find work that engaged him, and more often than not, he left positions behind as quickly as
Yeah, it's called work. It's not supposed to engage you. Like, what the oh my gosh.
he started them.
Oh
But his
my
next job,
gosh.
the final one before YouTube, was different. This one he took seriously. Jordie found work at a Chinese-owned company called McC Gloss, which specialized in producing a unique type of glass that was in high demand at the time. It wasn't the kind of work most would dream of, but it came with stability, purpose, and pay that was far above anything Jordie had ever earned. As a crane operator, he was making $25 an hour, a wage that
Right, which is all not verifiable. This is all from his mouth. I don't believe that for a second.
in the mid-2000s felt like striking gold. For once, the chaos that had defined his youth seemed to quiet down. He had money coming in, a routine he could depend on, and a sense that perhaps finally he had found his place.
Dude, if he worked at that place, he was the janitor.
But the security didn't last. When the 2007 recession swept through the economy, companies like McC Gloss were hit hard. Import and export complications strained their operations, and soon the business began letting go of its employees. Jordie, despite his effort and consistency, was one of the many to lose his job. Overnight, the sense of stability he had worked so hard to build disappeared. He found himself
If what he did was so important and was irreplaceable, he would have kept that job. But if you're a janitor and you clean the floors every day, you're not that important.
unemployed and directionless once again, left to wrestle with the same uncertainty that had haunted so much of his life. Jobless and moneyless, Jordie returned to the one constant that had always been there for him: video games. Outside of a small circle of family and friends, gaming was all he had to lean on. He poured himself into it, spending hours at a time immersed in the virtual worlds that had once been his childhood escape. But this time, those games would become more than just a distraction. A friend of his, known online as Z7 Taylor, had already been experimenting with something new. Taylor recorded clips of himself playing Call of Duty, edited them, and uploaded them to YouTube. The platform was still young, but those videos began to gather views, recognition, and a sense of community that Jordie couldn't ignore. He saw firsthand the attention Taylor was receiving, and it planted an idea in his mind. If Taylor could find an audience simply by sharing the games they already played together, why couldn't he? Jordie was already spending countless hours in Call of Duty lobbies, already developing strategies, already pouring his voice into the microphone during matches. All it would take was the decision to hit record, to upload, and to put himself out there. And so, inspired by his friend and driven by the sudden vacuum left by the recession, Jordie's next chapter began, which started his late nights spent gaming to
Right, once again, he's able to do that because he was living with his mommy and didn't have any responsibility, had no rent to pay, no utilities to pay, no cable, internet. He had nothing to pay. Like, no responsibility.
the void of unemployment was about to transform into a career. The boy who had once retreated into
mid-20s, no responsibility. That's just insane.
Video games for comfort.
Insane.
Was stepping into a space where the entire world could hear his voice. That voice would not be polished nor carefully managed. It would be blunt, unfiltered, and at times abrasive. But in that rawness lay something compelling, something that drew viewers in, even if it also pushed others away. This was the beginning of Wings of Redemption, a new identity born out of hardship, shaped by struggle, and destined to carry all the weight of Jordie's past.
Shaped by struggle? No, dude. This dude was shaped by the path of least resistance, bruh.
Into the spotlight. Jordie's leap into YouTube was not impulsive, it was calculated, born from observation and timing. After watching his friend Z7 Taylor receive attention for uploading gameplay, Jordie saw potential. If Taylor could build an audience by simply sharing Call of Duty clips, then surely he could too. But unlike Taylor, Jordie wanted to do it right from the beginning. So in the fall of 2009, he made an investment. He purchased an expensive capture device, the Hopoj HD PVR, a piece
25 years old, being able to say, oh, if I make $9,000 in a year, I can survive. Like, that's insane, dude.
of equipment that cost nearly $200, a steep price for someone recently laid off and struggling financially. But to Jordie, it was a gamble worth taking. The HD PVR would allow him to record crisp, high-definition footage of his matches, at a time when most of YouTube was still filled with grainy, low-quality uploads. That decision alone.
Oh yeah, dude. Back then, dude, if you had a capture card back then, you had money, dude, or you were definitely like taking it extremely serious. Yeah, for sure.
Apart. In January 2008, he launched his channel, Wings of Redemption. The name carried weight, a mix of personal symbolism and gaming identity, a moniker that would soon become infamous. His first 2 uploads were simple enough, but it was on his 3rd video that Jordie did something most players weren't attempting yet. He spoke directly to the audience.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, hi again. This is my first commentary, and here we go.
His voice carried over the gameplay, offering commentary, thoughts, and personality, alongside the footage. It wasn't just about what was happening on screen anymore, it was about the person behind the controller. This style was revolutionary for its time. YouTube was still young, and while commentary videos are common today, back then, it was a novelty. Combined with the sharp HD quality of his recordings and occasional glimpses of his face, Wings of Redemption...
Right, that's all it was. It wasn't anything else. There weren't any options. He was the only option. He was early.
Redemption quickly distinguished himself from the sea of anonymous faceless uploads. He wasn't just showing gameplay, he was building a persona. The formula worked. Jordie uploaded regularly, sometimes multiple times a week, and that consistency became one of his early strengths.
Right, because when you don't have any responsibility and you don't have to work a job, you can do shit like this when, you know, I'm sure most people given the same opportunity would have done the same thing if they were able to just sit on, you know, live with their parents, live with their mommy, and play video games and record it, of course. Like, oh my gosh.
His channel grew quickly. Within the first month, he had nearly 2,000 subscribers, a number that in 2009 represented real traction. By all measures, he was off to a strong start. It didn't take long for his network to expand. Z7 Taylor, the friend who had first inspired him, caught the attention of a larger creator at the time, a channel known as Hutch Is Your Daddy. Hutch was one of the pioneering names in Call of Duty commentary, and his shout-out to Taylor provided a ripple effect that extended to Jordie as well. With the association, Wings of Redemption's subscriber count surged. From just a few thousand, his audience swelled to nearly 7,000 shortly after. For a small-town gamer from South Carolina, those numbers were staggering. He had gone from obscurity to becoming a recognized name within the growing Call of Duty communities in a matter of weeks. But with exposure came scrutiny, and scrutiny quickly led to Jordie's first brush with controversy. In a now-deleted video, Wings of Redemption publicly criticized Hutch's style of play. Hutch was known for quickscoping, a flashy technique with sniper rifles that involves zooming in and firing with lightning speed.
No, that takes a flashy technique? No, dude. That takes some actual skill to do, man.
The method was risky but spectacular, producing the kind of clips that excited viewers and kept them entertained. To many, it was an art form, but to Jordie, it was unrealistic. On camera, he dismissed the practice outright, arguing that quickscoping had no basis in real-life military tactics. In his view, Call of Duty was meant to be played as a simulation, and players should treat it with the seriousness of an actual battle.
Even though there's... Oh my gosh, did he really... Oh, wow. Wow, he really said that.
To him,
oh my gosh.
snipers were not meant to dart across maps firing from the hip.
That's like me going, you know what? When you play Madden, and if you go for it on 4th down, you're destroying the simulation. Like, what an idiot!
They were meant to hold positions, to wait patiently, to act with precision. Anything else, he argued, was not how the game was designed to be played. He called Hutch an amateur for this.
I called you an amateur sniper without actual sniper ideals or traits.
Now, what do you think?
The audience, however, didn't take his side. Viewers saw his comments not as a principled stance, but as hypocrisy. They pointed to Jordie's own favorite strategy, camping. Camping in shooter culture is when a player picks a spot on the map, hunkers down, and waits for enemies to come to them instead of engaging.
And people, there's no one out there that were like, you know what? I camp and I enjoy that. No one does that.
Actively.
No one
it
does
is effective,
that.
yes, but it's also one of the most heavily criticized play styles in online gaming. Players hate it because it feels cheap and passive, as though that camper is...
it feels weak because they can't run around and do anything, so they have to go in the bathroom, get on top of the sink, and crouch and just wait. Yeah.
Refusing to truly compete. To many, camping ruins the flow of a match, turning a fast-paced content.
And it's just boring. It's a boring way to play. It's a boring way to watch people play.
Into a tedious grind. And while Wings might have considered his approach strategic, viewers called it out as cowardly and boring. The irony was clear. Here was Jordie, dismissing Hutch's entertaining quickscopes as unrealistic, while relying on a strategy that frustrated nearly everyone else. And the backlash came quickly, but rather than escalate into a feud, the situation diffused in an unexpected way. Hutch, instead of retaliating, reached out to Wings. The two eventually sat down for a collaboration, and had a friendly debate about their different approaches to the game.
This is Hutch, bringing you a match of domination on Wasteland, but this is not my match. This is another person's match. Who do I got with me today?
Yo, it's your boy, Wings of Redemption.
Wow. That's quite an intro, buddy.
God, he can't just speak normal.
It was a surprising resolution, one that showcased...
So I just want to make sure that we're understanding here. You said that people liked him because he was authentic. What was that? He doesn't talk like that.
How small and interconnected the YouTube gaming scene was in its early days. Even disagreements could turn into opportunities for collaboration and growth. For Wings of Redemption, it was both a lesson and a warning. His honesty and bluntness had already drawn attention, but it also highlighted the very traits that would follow him for the rest of his career. A tendency to speak his mind without filter, a belief that his way was the right way, and a willingness to challenge others even if it invited backlash.
There's nothing wrong with speaking your mind unfiltered. The issue is that he does not... Any pushback on whatever he says... He can't handle it.
In some ways, this controversy marked the true beginning of his identity online. From the start, Wings was not going to be the polished, agreeable type. He was not there to entertain with flash or charm. He was there to assert himself, to carve out a space with his voice, and to do things his way. And while that approach brought him early success, it also planted the seeds for the conflicts that would define much of his career. Another example of Wings of Redemption's early controversies was his run-in with a group of gamers that were gaining notoriety at the time, who called themselves the Federation of Asshole Gamers, or FAG. This was a loosely organized collective that thrived on creating chaos, raiding online games, and bullying other players into submission. Their reputation spread quickly in the early Call of Duty community, and it was only a matter of time before Wings ended up in their sights. The conflict began not long after the infamous Hutch is your daddy incident, the argument that marked the start of Wings' reputation for being combative and defensive.
I did in that video was not camping in the least. I basically held down over half the map. Alright, I held down half the map and I was moving constantly. You do not have to be moving into new areas of the game, of the map, to not be camping.
Oh, he's so butthurt.
Seriously, even
wow.
C says that mess, you know. I mean, yeah, people gonna call me a fat nerd for that, but guess what? You just get your ass blocked. Straight up. And about people who tries to threaten me with unsubscribing. I don't give a kid. Seriously. I will block you out of spare spite because I know people that really
I will block you out of what?
Kid, seriously. I will block you out of spare spite because I
Hey, what's spear spite? What does that mean? You mean mirror? Dumbass? Oh my god.
know people that really enjoy my site would be willing to watch my video twice to get rid of your ass. Nobody wants your ass around here.
Oh,
From then on, he
wow.
became known.
Dude, oh my gosh. The level. Why? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Why does he talk like that? Why? He doesn't talk like that normally. Why does he talk like that?
As someone who would respond directly to criticism and negative comments, and often his responses were heated. For a group like FAG, who made a sport out of provoking reactions, this was a perfect target. Wings was exactly the type of person they wanted to harass, because they knew he would not ignore them, and instead would lash out publicly. At the center of FAG was Daniel Keem, better known as Keemstar.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? This is why, okay.
Even at this early stage of his career, Keemstar had a reputation for stirring up drama and escalating conflict. When another Call of Duty commentator named That Guy Who Camps informed Keem that Wings had been speaking negatively about him, the news spread quickly, and Keemstar decided to act. The group launched a mass harassment campaign against Wings, raiding his lobbies, spamming his content, and most damaging of all, engaging in what became known as false flagging. This meant mass reporting Wings' videos in an attempt to get them removed from YouTube, a devastating tactic at a time when creators relied on a few key uploads to grow their channels. Wings responded.
Dang, oh wow. Now that, like, so, trolling and all that, totally fine. Why would you, that's the one thing I haven't really understood that mindset of, well, let's do whatever to get him off and not stream anymore or not make videos anymore. Then you don't have any content to make. That part I've never really understood.
The way he usually did, by making videos addressing the situation directly. In one such upload, he asked the FAG members to stop false flagging his channel and pleaded for the harassment to end.
They're going to be trying to flag and thumbs down my videos, which in result will getting my...
Now, wait a minute. Now, the thumbs down, that's fine, but the false flagging is, I don't like that.
...account banned, and I'll have to go through the long, lengthy process of getting it back. To help protect my channel, if you could go and not subscribe to his live stream, but kind of go in the comment section and persuade people not to do this.
At the same time,
oh my gosh, why would you say that?
He also urged his own viewers not to retaliate against them, warning that fighting fire with fire would only make things worse. He even asked his audience to try to convince the FAG members to leave his channel alone, a move that showed how desperate the situation had become.
I'm not telling you to flag his videos or anything, or his channel, because I've already got footage of his channel threatening my personal space and my personal use, and I'm going to try to send that to the administration department over at Block TV and see if that gets done. But I'm not telling you to take any action. Let me get that point clear. But let's work to try to keep my channel alive if possible. Thank you.
But the request had no effect. The attacks continued, and Wings remained under siege.
This request proved ineffectual, and the FAG was able to successfully abuse YouTube's automated systems, racking up over 30 strikes on his channel. Protected by machinima.
Eventually, in an attempt to settle things, Wings arranged a call with Keemstar. At first, the conversation was surprisingly tame. Wings acted calm, almost innocent, as if he were trying to de-escalate. But as the call went on, the real issues surfaced. Keem accused Wings of weaponizing his fanbase, pointing out that FAG itself had been suffering from false flagging. He claimed that Wings had taken credit for taking them down, and suggested that Wings' audience was being used to retaliate against the group.
A comment that Wings wrote, he said, and I believe this is the correct quote, "Nick, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've already killed FAG." I don't understand why you wrote that comment. Because our channel has been under attack, there's false copyright complaints on it to the point that it's suspended until YouTube reviews it, and now we have someone that's taking credit for killing our channel. I don't understand why you wrote that.
Rather than outright deny this, Wings responded by saying, what did Keem expect? By attacking a much larger channel like his, retaliation was inevitable.
You should have seen that was going to come anyway. You attacked a channel that was 4 times your size.
The two seemed to reach a kind of uneasy truce, and by the end of the call, Wings himself described it as a ceasefire.
Any thoughts on our discussion here, Wings?
Yeah, I'll ceasefire.
But things did not end there. When the
so he was doing that.
call was supposed to be over, Wings continued talking, unaware or perhaps careless of the fact that the recording was still running. He began asking Keemstar questions that revealed something far more concerning. Wings admitted that he had gathered personal information about Keemstar, including his P.O. box, his street address, and even the name of his girlfriend.
Run some stuff by you. Is your P.O. box 148 Holland, New York 1408?
That's correct. That's correct.
Is your street address? York 140809702.
That's incorrect. That's incorrect.
Right.
I don't give my personal where I live at. I don't give that out.
Is your girlfriend named Melissa or Flack?
Yes, she is.
Is their phone number 7165?
At first, Keemstar seemed taken aback, asking why Wings had been digging into his private information. Wings tried to brush it off, claiming he just wanted to see how much of the information was correct. But then he admitted that he had looked into Keem's personal details intentionally and leaked them.
8263.
Okay, can I ask you why you're trying to get my personal information?
I'm just trying to see how much of this is correct, because I gave some of this information to Fisticuffs.
You gave my personal information to Fisticuffs?
When pressed further, Wings gave a response that shocked many. He joked that if Keem ever succeeded in taking his channel down, he might have to make a trip to New York.
What was the motivation?
What?
Behind this
and do and do what?
Well, basically, I did some digging, and I tried to find everything I could find out about him in case he actually did drop my YouTube channel.
All right. Well, this is a good example, though, Wings. Like, you know,
I'll go take a trip up to New York.
The implication was
Oh, shut up. Oh, shut your fat mouth.
clear, and Keemstar did not take it lightly. He shot back, saying he was not scared, that if Wings did come to New York, he would end up going back looking like a raccoon.
You might be going back looking like a raccoon.
Keem accused Wings of being a bully, but said that no matter what, he would always stand against him with his middle
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. So now we go to present day, and he's crying because the trolls took his Battlefield account. Well, I mean, what's that saying? Do unto others? Oh my gosh. I actually did feel a little, like, bad for that, because, like, bro, that's out of control, man. And then you see this shit, and he was doing it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. F off. Oh, yeah. I hope they never give you back your account. Oh, my gosh. You hypocrite. Oh, my gosh.
finger in the air.
That way
Dude,
you won't be surprised.
do you know how many people threaten me a day? It's like, I know that you're a bully and that you get off on bullying people, but like I'm one person that is just going to constantly have that middle finger in the air. It's never going to go down. It's always going to be you. No one is ever going to talk me into submission or anything. So whatever you're trying to do, just stop now.
The moment ended the conversation, but it set the tone for how their relationship would unfold in the years that followed, one filled with conflict and...
And he went and worked for that guy? Oh my gosh. And he wanted to work with him. That's... Wow. Bro, if I was Keemstar, I'd be like, dude, I would never work with you ever. You try and do that shit. Oh my gosh,
animosity
bro.
and repeated clashes. This entire saga not only damaged Wing's reputation, but also solidified his image as someone who
This explains... Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh man, this explains why this idiot thinks I live in an apartment. God, he must have combed through God knows what video that I mentioned that, and oh my gosh. Holy shit, dude. Oh, you are a freaking weirdo.
could not ignore his critics. Every time he responded, every time he lashed out, it gave his detractors more ammunition to use against him. The feud with FAG and Keemstar became one of the defining controversies of his early career, a controversy that revealed both his unwillingness to back down and the dangers of his confrontational style. By the start of 2010, Wings of Redemption was no longer just another small creator in a growing sea of Call of Duty channels. His voice and consistency had begun to pay off. Just months into his YouTube career, he was approached by Machinima, a powerful and exclusive network at the time. Partnering with Machinima meant one thing above all else: money. Around this time, Jordie was also offered the chance to return to his old job at McGloss, the crane operator position that had once given him stability and solid pay, but he declined. To him, going back would have been a step backward, a retreat into the very life he was trying to escape. Jordie chose to double down on content creation, determined to make it his future. For the first time, Wings could begin earning revenue from his videos, transforming what had once been a pastime into something that resembled a career. It was validation, not only that his content had value, but that he, a gamer from South Carolina with no college degree and a history of short-lived jobs, could finally make something of himself. The numbers reflected it. Within just 4 months of signing on, Wings' channel had skyrocketed to over 45,000 subscribers. For early YouTube, this was no small achievement. It put him firmly in the conversation with the biggest names in the Call of Duty community. During this time, Wings also began collaborating with other creators, most notably Woody's Gamertag and S. Kyle, who would later rise to fame under the persona S. Russia. The three first connected casually over Skype calls, but their chemistry quickly stood out. After a few collaborations, they made the decision to create something more permanent together, a podcast. The show, titled Painkiller Already, better known simply as PKA, started out as pre-recorded discussions between the trio. Before long, however, they shifted to live streaming the episodes on Justin.tv, the platform that would later become Twitch. And from there, the format found its rhythm. It wasn't just about gaming anymore. They talked about everything: current events, relationships, outrageous hypothetical questions, even—
And he was the shock jock guy on the show, right?
deeply personal aspects of their own lives. Each week a different guest would join in, but the real draw was the dynamic.
And once again, if you have to go and talk about yourself like that on a deep personal level, that means you have really nothing to actually engage with, and you really have no depth to you. Like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that to be entertaining.
Dynamic between the hosts themselves. For Wings, the podcast was both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it massively expanded his reach, introducing him to audiences who might never have found his YouTube channel otherwise. On the other, it opened the door for the world to see him unfiltered, and sometimes that honesty worked against him. Through PKA, we learned things about Wings that would become defining parts of his online identity. He openly talked about his struggles with weight, including his early discussions of weight loss surgery, and even mentioned experimenting with things like B12 shots to try and boost his metabolism.
I have 46 weapons, and some of them are fully automatic.
Well, mine are to shoot the cats that come in the backyard, but I didn't really want to.
Mine are too.
He also admitted to bouts of uncontrolled anger.
Oh, is that shock jock?
Casually recalling how he had smashed televisions, broken multiple controllers, and even destroyed a handgun during fits of rage.
That was my rage story. But Wings, you're clearly gonna win.
What is that?
18 PS3 controllers, 3
What is that?
Xbox controllers, 2 TVs.
What is that?
1 keyboard.
What is that?
1 handgun.
And then there was perhaps the most unsettling revelation of all.
Was that all his?
Wings owned an arsenal of 46 firearms, something that surprised and concerned many of the viewers.
You know that, well, everybody knows that you've been considering, is it laparoscopic surgery? I have that wrong. Lap band surgery. Lap band surgery. Thank you. Lap band surgery.
Oh, what I'm doing right now is I'm on a low-carb diet where I basically eat like a lot of eggs.
Oh my God. So we're talking 15 years this idiot has been talking about diet, and he's still a fat ass. With a weight loss surgery under his belt and Ozempic. Oh my gosh, what a loser. Holy shit.
Eggs, chicken, and meat. I went to the doctor Saturday. His name's Dr. Norman, and he's here in Myrtle Beach. And I'm basically going to be given what you call a V12 shot. And what it is a shot they put into your stomach. It's a big old long needle. And it increases your metabolism. And there's a set of pills that...
That's not a big old long needle if they put it in your stomach, idiot.
Go in there and just, you kind of perks you up and keeps your metabolism going, keeps your heart rate up.
That winning 46 firearms might have sounded impressive on the surface, but to many viewers it painted a far more troubling picture. Who really needs that many weapons? Especially when you are not a collector by trade or a professional marksman. We're all for self-defense. But this many weapons seems like overkill. For Wings, it seemed less about practicality and more about control, a way of compensating for feelings he could never quite shake. The fear of being powerless, of being exposed, had been with him since childhood. Growing up in poverty, bullied for his appearance, shot in the leg as a teenager, all
don't know that's true.
of these experiences left a scar that never faded. The guns, then, were not just tools. They were symbols of security, a reassurance that he would never again be at the mercy of the world around him. But just like his struggles with weight, his tendency to lash out, or his endless comparisons to others, the arsenal revealed something fragile beneath the surface. It was not strength. It was not confidence. It was protection layered over insecurity. Every weapon was another reminder that Jordie was still fighting a battle with himself, one that no amount of firepower could truly win. In time, that same need to defend himself would appear in different forms, from his excuses in competition to the way he clashed with viewers online. The guns were only the beginning, an early glimpse of the insecurities that would haunt Wings of Redemption for the rest of his public life. In many ways, PKA became the stage where Wings' contradictions played out. He could be funny, relatable, and thoughtful one moment, then
relatable,
volatile, bitter, or insecure the next.
At what point? What? What do you mean relatable?
On the other hand, like there's a Wings that subs don't get to see all that much. Like that guy that reads poetry in his commentary, that guy that has deeper thoughts and a sensitive side, he's there too. And
what are you talking about? Oh Jesus, what are you talking about?
To see him, and sometimes the subs don't. Well, and recently it's been changed, but there was that like phase he had where I guess he and his subs had conflict for like whatever 50 videos, 100 videos in a row, and a lot of guys are stuck on that Wings, but there's more to him.
And while this unpredictability drew attention, it also planted the seeds for the controversies and conflicts that would define much of his career. Looking back, the stories Wings shared on PKA were not just entertaining anecdotes, they were warnings. Each confession, from his struggles with food to his explosive temper.
Yeah, is that all Shock Jock too, or what?
To the strange comfort he took in owning dozens of firearms.
So hey, fat ass, which was Shock Jock and which was real? Can you filter between those two, or what?
Painted a picture of someone constantly at war with himself. At times he seemed self-aware, admitting his flaws openly, But self-awareness is not the same as change. That was the contradiction at the heart of a Wings of Redemption. He could admit his weaknesses, yet when confronted with them in real time...
Oh, that's such a great... Oh, that was such a great way to phrase that.
That was the contradiction at the heart of a Wings of Redemption. He could admit his weaknesses, yet when confronted with them in real time, his instinct was always to lash to the strange comfort he took in owning dozens of firearms, painted a picture of someone constantly at war with himself. At times he seemed self-aware, admitting his flaws openly. But self-awareness is not the same as change. That was the contradiction...
Yeah, that's so good. That's a very... very valid point.
At the heart of a Wings of Redemption. He could admit his weaknesses, yet when confronted with them in real time, his instinct was always to lash out to protect the fragile image he had built. And nowhere was this clearer than in the infamous Syndicate match.
And what image does he think he built? Like,
everything he had revealed on the podcast, his volatility, his defensiveness.
See, this is why you need to have friends in IRL, because if you don't have friends in IRL, again, maybe my buddies are just different, but we all shit on each other. I mean, yeah, we're always wanting to, you know, we want what's best for each other. But again, if one of us comes and says something stupid, or says like, or has put himself in a situation, it's like where you want to be told the truth, no matter how painful it is, you want to have real friends. This dude has never had that, and it's because of him. It's not because and his personality and how he doesn't want to be vulnerable around anyone or really express how he truly feels. It's all bullshit. And he's insufferable. I mean, and he doesn't take any accountability for anything he does or says. And why would anyone want to be friends with someone like that? Why?
His deep need to be seen as great had all come boiling to the surface during that one-on-one game. The meltdown that followed was not an isolated moment. It was the perfect storm of everything the Wings had already shown the world, captured live, and not an isolated moment. It was the perfect storm of everything...
God damn! I'm so bummed. I'm so late to the party. Like, this is...
Going to the surface during that one-on-one game. The meltdown that followed was not an isolated moment. It was the perfect storm of everything the Wings had already shown the world, captured live. The outburst might have been embarrassing enough, but what came after, according to Woody, was even more startling. Years later, Woody revealed that once the stream had ended, Wings' anger didn't cool off. It got worse. Behind the scenes, Wings went ballistic, directing his fury not at himself, not even at Woody, but at Syndicate. He allegedly threatened Syndicate's life, saying things along the lines of breaking his teeth in with a magazine and other violent remarks.
I try to like change the topic and play 1v1 against a different guy. You know, like let's just put that in the past and move on. He doesn't want that. He wants to end the stream, so we do. After the stream ends, he's continually threatening this guy. He says he's going to break his teeth out with a mag light, that if he was there, he would kill him. And he goes like...
Syndicate, for his part, didn't take the bait. He stayed calm, almost detached, brushing it off with a kind of, yeah, sure, whatever attitude.
Nuts on it. And Tom, on the other hand, is also known as Syndicate, is just being cool about the whole thing. Like, look, man, you know, you win some, you lose some. Like, don't make too big a deal out of it.
The contrast was striking. On one side, you had Wings, humiliated and seething, struggling to process the loss he had insisted on making public. On the other, Syndicate, unfazed, unwilling to let the tantrum rattle him. But the story didn't stop there either. Despite the meltdown, despite the threats, a rematch between Wings and Syndicate was arranged.
Oh yeah, show the DMs.
And that second encounter, while less infamous than the first, would prove just as telling in its own way. On August 27, 2011, Wings of Redemption and Syndicate once again crossed paths, this time not in a live match, but in a series of private text messages. The idea of a rematch had been floated, with someone even offering to put up a prize of $5,000 for the winner. Despite all the hostility and disrespect Wings had shown during their last encounter, Syndicate was willing to bury the hatchet and entertain of playing again. But then Wings made a move that shocked everyone. Instead of simply agreeing to the rematch, he asked Syndicate to throw the match. The proposal was straightforward. If Syndicate deliberately lost, they could split the money.
You guys, we'll put, I forget what it was, like $5,000 on the line, and then winner take all. And Wings came to him. And
so what he did was he messaged him privately because he was so insecure that he'd get his ass beat again and try and work out a deal so that they split the... I mean, which, you know, I don't think is like heinous, but when it comes to, you know, what this dude, like, what, like, his whole goal was, oh, you could, I mean, yeah, it's a horrible look. Horrible look.
We'll do this. We'll do a 1v1. You throw it. Look, I'm going to win anyway because I'm Wings of Redemption, but you throw it just to lock that in. And then I'll keep, I think, what do you want the split to be?
See, that's the best part. Wings would keep the lion's share and get the victory.
Mm-hmm. Right, what an idiot. See, if he was smart, he would say, look, let's do this. I'll give you more of the money because we're going to do this. It's going to make me look good, so I'll give you more. I'll take less because you're going to... No, he does the opposite. What an idiot.
That's not how a bribe works.
That's not how bribes work.
Wow.
Wings justified the request by saying he would win anyway, framing it as an easy way for both of them to profit while burying the hatchet. He even admitted that he didn't make $2,500 a day and needed to provide for his girlfriend at the time, a woman named Shalene, whom he had met on a dating site called Plenty of Fish, and her 2 children. Wings were so confident he would win regardless, why ask Syndicate to lose on purpose? To many, it revealed something deeper. As his friend Woody would later explain, Wings tied almost all of his self-worth to gaming. He had little else in his life he felt proud of.
Oh my gosh, that's what I've been saying this whole time. He's such a loser that the only thing that actually gives him any kind of credibility, any kind of anything, is being good at video games.
His financial struggles and his frequent meltdowns often left him mocked, memed, and dismissed. Gaming and YouTube were the only areas where he could still see himself as successful, and that desperation seeped into moments like this.
Why is he getting so... I guess this would be my mindset. You said this guy's really good, top of the rank, right?
Like at zombies.
Yeah, but I mean, so he just the game in general, then he would be proficient at, I would imagine. So,
sure.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going against somebody like that and you lose, you'd be like, okay, well, I lost. Maybe you talk a little bit of shit, but you'd be like, well, the guy's good, right? I got a loss. I got a loss.
Wings thinks he's great.
Think so.
Wings is self-appreciation is out of this world. You know, he legit thought for a while that he was better than all the pro gamers, that he was better at quickscoping than the quickscopers, better at zombies than the zombies guy, better anyone at everything. He plays all his games on hard mode,
my
right?
gosh.
And that was some sort of like, you know,
Right.
qualification to be an outstanding gamer. So he was surprised that the #1 zombie player on the planet was better than him. He didn't see that coming. And you say, why is he making such a big deal out of a loss? You also have to recognize, maybe you do, that it's not just a game to him. This is his living. This is his sense of self-worth. This is like being good at...
That's pathetic. And here's what's really interesting. And this is how you know that these three dudes, or these two dudes, weren't really his friend. Because what kind of friend is going to continue to reiterate or say, "Oh yeah, keep thinking like that," or "Oh yeah, you know what? Don't change. Stay exactly who you are, because that's extremely good for you and healthy and mature," right? No one. I mean, it's hard to argue with the success, but clearly there needs to be a disconnect, and this dude clearly has no disconnect from online to his real life at all. Wow.
Games. It's not just his finances, but who he is. That's like, as a man, he is a dominant gamer.
Unfortunately for Wings,
Do you hear? As a man, he's a dominant gamer. A man? No, he's Peter Pan, bruh.
his attempt to fix the match did not stay private. Syndicate leaked the messages on Twitter,
Yeah,
exposing the
good,
bribe attempt to the public.
good.
What might have been a chance at redemption instead turned into another scandal, further damaging his reputation. Before this, while
And
Wings
of course, I'm sure he didn't just own up to it and be like, you know what, guys, I was desperate. I needed the money. He's obviously better than me. I couldn't guarantee myself a dub. So yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did, and I tried to take more of the money, too.
had already been trolled for his meltdowns, his blaming of teammates, and his defensive style of camping. He still carried a certain level of respect in the Call of Duty community. He had even done good things, like raising $10,000 for a young girl with cerebral palsy, personally donating $2,000 out of his own pocket to make it happen. But after the Syndicate DMs went public, things shifted.
Again, another way to try to make himself look better. Okay, Jimmy Savile.
The trolls had more reasons, the respect he had earned began to erode, and the image of Wings of Redemption as a sore loser was replaced by something worse. Someone willing to cheat, even bribe, to protect the fragile identity he had built as a dominant gamer. Looking back, the Syndicate saga was more than just an embarrassing episode.
Wow.
It was the first and most pivotal turning point in Wings of Redemption's reputation. Before this, he had been seen as a talented Call of Duty player with a growing channel, a podcaster with opinions, and even someone capable of rallying his audience for good causes.
A podcaster with opinions? I mean, did you hear those opinions?
But after this, the perception shifted. The meltdown during the live match, the violent threats behind the scenes, and the leaked attempt to bribe Syndicate all combined to create a new image of Wings, volatile, insecure, and willing to cut corners to protect his pride. But despite the hate and the setbacks, Wings kept making videos. He continued to upload regularly, but by this point, the YouTube space was evolving rapidly. New creators were entering the scene with flashier edits, higher production value, and more entertaining personalities. By comparison, Wings' content, though it had seen some small upgrades, remained largely the same as it had been in 2009. His straightforward commentaries and simple gameplay no longer stood out. As a result, his subscriber count stagnated at around 400,000, and his views began to steadily decline.
Oh my gosh, so that's how it happened. That's how he got 400,000 subscribers. Unbelievable. So yeah, it wasn't talent that got him those 400,000. It was lack of options.
To make matters worse, his personal life was unraveling as well. Shaline, the woman he had been dating and whose children he had helped take care of, left him. For Wings, who had invested so much of his time and resources into that relationship, the breakup was a heavy blow.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Wings of Redemption, and this is another one of the video not very hype, but I got some very important news.
Oh God. That's on a pre-recorded video. He couldn't put together a sentence even back then. Holy shit.
The channel updates here for you today. For those of you who know, I've been dating a girl named Shaline for about a year now, and today I kind of decided for a huge life change. I actually asked her to move out of the house again.
Still, he managed to bounce back temporarily when he began dating another woman.
Bro, you have the nerve to say I can't get women? What is that? Oh, I mean, dude. Man, you need to keep your fat mouth shut, bro. Holy shit, bro. God damn. Hey, who's the hottie? Oh my god.
A woman named Brandy, whom he also met through plenty of fish. For a brief moment, things seemed to stabilize. Professionally, Wings attempted to revitalize his channel by putting together a special video to celebrate reaching 100 million.
Don't you ever say you can get... Bro, why do you give advice on women, dude? Why? Why? Oh, look at that. Holy shit.
In total views. He spent days editing and preparing it, hoping it would reignite interest in his content, but the video failed to land. It lacked the spark that audiences had come to expect from the evolving YouTube landscape, and its underwhelming reception devastated him.
Was his 100 million total views celebration video. It would take him 3 days of editing to put this together, but due to its poor editing and failure to portray a clear narrative, it would well underperform.
In a now
poor editing? Do you know how bad do you know how untalented you have to be to not know how to edit a video?
Deleted tweet. Wings was seen threatening another creator online. This all came shortly after his 100 million views. Special video flopped, failing to draw in more attention than his regular uploads. Wings had poured days of work into the project, and when it didn't perform, the disappointment hit him hard. Feeling dejected, he turned to Twitter, where he posted about suicide.
Oh, what?
The reaction from the community was swift and unforgiving. Instead of offering sympathy, many accused Wings of using suicide threats as a ploy for attention, claiming he was only doing it because his video hadn't gotten...
Oh my gosh! I wish I was making videos then. Oh my gosh,
This was partly on Wings, because from what we have found, he was blaming it all on the fact that since his views were low, he wouldn't be able to make much money off this video, and he was already in a bad financial situation. Among those who called him out was fellow content creator LOLCOW.
Oh, dude, you know how many people have said that me and this dude need to do a collab?
Who openly criticized Wings for his behavior. That's when Wings made things even worse. In another now-deleted tweet, he directly threatened LOLCOW's life, writing, "I've got a lot of guns, LOLCOW, and if I decide I'm taking you with me." It was an outrageous escalation. A death threat directed at another content creator, stemming from nothing more than frustration over YouTube numbers. LOLCOW, understandably, did not take kindly to the message. For Wings, the incident became yet another example of how his insecurities and volatility constantly boiled over in public. During all of this drama, another familiar figure entered the picture, Keemstar. Wings and Keem already had history, and Keem used the moment to his advantage. Drama was, and still is, his bread and butter. By involving himself, he saw an opportunity to capitalize on Wings' latest controversy, while also reviving old tensions. That Keem managed to bring all of the key players into one place, his podcast.
And this is, I mean, dude, was this the genesis idea of LOLCOW Live right here, or
was
what?
Keemstar himself, fellow commentator Whiteboy 7th Street, and a user known as X-Duranker. Later, LOLCOW, the same creator Wings had threatened, would join in as well. Wings appeared too, this time backed by Woody, one of his closest friends, and at that point, one of the few people willing to publicly defend him. What followed wasn't just a discussion, it was a public spectacle, with so many of Wings' rivals in the same space, and with Keem at the helm.
Oh my god, this would have been
during the conversation more conflict. It quickly became less about resolution and more about exposure, at least at first. As the podcast began, neither Wings of Redemption or LOLCOW had joined the call yet. Keemstar, acting as the host, brought in other commentators such as Whiteboy 7th Street and X-Duranker to get the conversation started. Almost immediately, the discussion turned toward Wings and his recent meltdown online. Whiteboy was the first to voice his opinion. He said that while he respected Wings as a creator, faking suicide because a video did not receive enough views was unacceptable behavior. He compared Wings' actions to those of an emotional
no shit.
teenager, someone acting like an emo 13-year-old, as he put it.
Right. He did it for attention. That's what a 13-year-old emo chick does. I care about Wings. I like Wings, and I'm sure all the viewers do as well.
God, why?
Relate to him. I have a personal relationship with him. You know, I can feel him. I can understand him. And that's why I got away with so much stuff. But faking it, crying wolf, I lost it.
Duranker built on that criticism, pointing out that all he had ever heard from Wings was constant complaining. In his view, Wings was ungrateful because he had what many
God, how is that any different than today?
He would consider a dream job, and yet continued to act like it was not enough. These comments created an atmosphere of tension, even before Wings had the chance to join the
call. What an entitled piece of shit.
Call.
I respect what Wings does, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying all he ever does is complain.
When Wings finally entered, he came in already defensive. He immediately confronted both Whiteboy and Duranker, asking why they had spoken about him before he could defend himself. His anger quickly zeroed in on Duranker. Wings belittled his job, claiming it was easy and not something to be proud of.
I told you what it is. You're a production supervisor. You walk around with your hands in your pockets. You probably turned a wrench in 8 years, and you want to sit there and talk about all of working hard.
What?
So you have a cake job. Your job is cake. What do is you hold your hands in your pocket. You wait till the safety meeting in the morning so you can suck up to some big wigs. Then you go home and you drink your Miller Lite. Well, it sounds like you're doing.
He attacked Duranker. His income, boasting that he made more money in a single day than Duranker made in an entire week.
Oh my gosh! What is it? And what is he basing that off of?
It's just on my phone. I'm actually at work because I have a job. Anyway.
Actually at work because you have a job. You know what? I did your job for 5 years. And you know what? I make more money now than I did at that job in 1 day of the week than I did.
Wings, and that's what I'm saying.
What?
You make a lot of money, but all you do is
the fact is...
To Wing.
Oh my gosh.
Hard labor or low-paying work was not a sign of resilience or dedication, but of failure. He accused people who did such jobs of having made mistakes in their lives rather than being hardworking individuals.
Manual labor.
What?
No. You're making it seem like I've never worked a real
you fat piece of shit.
job before. The reason that I have worked a real job is the reason I don't want to work a real job again. It doesn't matter if it's labor or backbreaking
You've never worked a real job. You were the janitor at Met Class. Shut your fat mouth.
work. You know, if I see a person digging a ditch, you know what I don't think? That's a hard worker. I think that's somebody that's up in his life.
Oh yeah, the projection is out of control.
After shutting down the ranker with that tirade, Wings turned his attention toward White Boy. His temper continued to flare as he hurled insult after insult, trying to undermine White Boy's credibility and status. At one point, Wings threatened to expose White Boy's earnings, claiming that he could reveal exactly how much money White Boy was making on YouTube.
You're real close to me just telling you what you what you actually make.
That's not anybody's business what people make, though.
I know what he makes. His contract ain't much different from mine.
Woody, who was in the call,
yeah, so what?
as both a co-host and a friend of Wings, tried to calm him down, but Wings refused to let the matter go. Wings insisted that White Boy's accusations
Wow, and now to think that these years later, that loser Woody was friends with this idiot. Why? What was Woody gaining from being friends with this fat piece of shit? He had to have been gaining something. There's no way a rational, regular dude who sees this type of behavior goes, oh yeah, I want to be friends with that. Oh my
were
gosh.
absurd. If he had truly wanted to profit from he argued, then he would have made a YouTube video about it where the ad revenue and clicks would have paid off.
He is. He's calling me a view whore when he said himself I get like 1,000 views. You're a dumbass, dude. I don't do that for views. If I did that for views, I would do it on my YouTube channel. Why don't you take your one-eyed ass?
Instead, his tweet had been an emotional response, not a calculated grab for money. His tone, however, was not measured. It was aggressive, harsh, and cutting. He mocked White Boy as a dropout who wasted time with drugs and told him to start thinking like an adult rather than a careless teenager.
Why don't you take your one-eyed ass and learn something? Quit smoking pot. Quit being a high school dropout.
Oh, wow.
White Boy defended himself, unwilling to back down in the face
Quit
of
being a high school dropout. Isn't he a high school? Hey, wasn't Wings a high school dropout or what?
Wings' rage. He argued that faking, even if only for attention or out of frustration, had real consequences. It was not something that could be dismissed as a bad day or a mistake. He reminded Wings that his platform carried influence, and that actions like his could have ramifications on fans and the wider community.
Do not understand the gravity of the situation. You fake this for views. Your raw instinct.
The heated exchange escalated to the point that Wings could no longer contain himself. In a fit of anger, he left his computer and stormed out of the room, leaving the rest of the call to continue without him. It was an embarrassing moment for him and for Woody, who found himself trying to pick up the pieces in the aftermath.
Wow.
Your raw instinct.
After Jordie returned,
Once Woody joined the call fully, he attempted to reframe the situation. As one of Wings' closest friends at the time, he felt an obligation.
Wow, dude. Bro, this dude has had his back the whole time, and that's how he treats him. That's crazy.
To defend him, or at least to provide context.
Woody, you went way out of your way, bruh, to be friends with this piece of shit, dude.
Explained that Wings was not trying to fake attention. Instead, he painted Wings as someone who thought in the short term and often reacted emotionally when things did not go his way. The failed video had left him hurt and disappointed, and rather than processing it quietly, Wings had turned to Twitter in a moment of weakness. Woody argued that this was not a ploy or manipulation, but simply a man letting his emotions spill into the public eye.
Oh, that's it. Oh, that's insane. He's sweeping. Bro, I mean, why else would you do that? Why else would you do that unless for attention? Like, you don't need to share that with the world that this is what you're going, like, oh my gosh, that's so weird.
Wings, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
All right, so when I was watching the Twitter feed unfold, like, this is how it played in my own head. I saw, you upset, and I know you, right? You're a guy who thinks a little bit short term. When cash comes in the bank, you feel wealthy. When the bills roll in, you feel broke. When the views are high, you feel, if you have
What bills does he have?
a good day view-wise, you feel like things are awesome. If you have a single bad day view-wise, you worry that the world is crashing. So I watched you on YouTube, and I thought, you know what? He's not joking or putting on a suicide. He's just a guy who has extreme feelings and expresses, like, there's
That's not normal, and you are basically massaging that.
no sort
Oh
of
my gosh.
long-term, like, moderation filter on there. Now, if I get 700,000 views today and 30,000 views tomorrow, I feel like I got 730,000 views over 2 days. You feel like, oh my gosh, my channel crashed today.
Yeah. The first thing you said makes sense. The second part is absolutely ridiculous.
The world is ending.
For some listeners, Woody's explanation was sympathetic and humanizing, a reminder that creators are people who sometimes falter
yeah.
under pressure. For others, it sounded like excuse
me off,
for someone who
dude.
repeatedly
Oh my
refused
gosh.
to take responsibility for his
Woody, bro, you're a grown-ass married man with a kid, and this is who you associated with this idiot, and then you said you even defended him when he powerbombed his roommate through the coffee table? You still had his back? What is the matter with you?
behavior. What could not be ignored, however, was that the incident had added yet another layer of controversy
and Wings still talks shit about you.
to Wings' already fragile reputation. Wings would later rejoin the call, but the tone shifted noticeably. Instead of lashing out, he opened up to Keemstar in a moment of raw honesty. He admitted that he wasn't happy with his life, that he felt stuck, going nowhere, and that the constant barrage of trolling from people like El Presidor left him feeling genuinely depressed.
El Presidor was one of the main instigators of my frustration. Like, generally, when I'm feeling bad, he's the person there to try to kick you when you're down.
No, just you.
Why don't you get that he's just a troll?
White Boy, who had been critical earlier, showed a bit of empathy. He told Wings not to let the trolls get to him, because every time he reacted, he was giving them exactly what they wanted. Wings agreed that he understood this in theory, but in practice he could.
No, he doesn't. He still doesn't understand it. He should not know my channel exists. He should not. I mean, I have made tons of videos on DSP. He doesn't know who I am, I don't think. Well, at least he wasn't dumb enough to shout out my channel on his channel. I think he knows who I am. I think there's a few things that he has changed and has said where, I mean, I haven't heard anyone else saying stuff like this, where, you know, the whole putting the drinking straight out of the thermos or whatever instead of pouring it into a glass. I mean, that's just the most ridiculous. I mean, how stupid can you be? So this dude shouldn't even know I exist, but what he does, in my opinion, he puts his name in the search engine and just starts scrolling and then found me.
Couldn't help himself. He said he knew he was feeding the trolls, but when the insults piled up, he always crashed out.
He says he's trolling you while he's doing it, and you still bite into it. You're feeding him, Wings. You're feeding the troll.
I understand that.
No, you don't.
Why don't you just stop?
Because it's not building.
Because I can't. Because I can't.
To me to stop.
Keemstar, in an
it's not building to me to stop. Oh, shut
unexpected
up.
twist, actually tried to motivate him. He told Wings to focus on what he had rather than what he lacked. The fact that people like El Presidor were trying to use his name for clout, Keem argued, only proved that Wings was a big deal. He reminded him that he was respected as one of the pioneers of the Call of Duty commentary scene, and that people still valued him for helping build their community.
What do I have?
Wings, think about what you just said. You said that you have El Presidor trying to get big off of you. Now, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that?
El Presidor's a leech.
No, but what I'm saying is, if El Presidor is really just trying to get big off you, that is an awesome thing. That's a compliment.
It's not an awesome thing. It hits
He can't. He's so deluded upstairs. He doesn't realize that, dude. No one's trying to get clout off of me. Like, bro, like, how do you not see that as like, well, shit, maybe I got, you know, when I went around and when Duty was like, hey, I know you. When Annie Morty was like, hey, I watched your channel before I even started my own, which is crazy. When Swamp Dweller Live was like, hey, let's you know, what's up? Let's link up, whatever. I had no idea these people knew who I was. And to me, that's like amazing. Like, that's insane that these people know who I am. And no clue these guys, I don't think anyone knows me. So, like, just those little things for me was like, okay, well, I'm obviously gaining some traction if these people know who I am. You know, Aussie Cobb, Huggy Bear, Lebrowski knows who I am. Like that's crazy. That blows my mind. Seriously, it blows my mind. So to have the same context, that's like me going, oh, that doesn't matter. These guys know who I am. I'm a nobody. It's like, no, dude, these guys actually know who I am. It's crazy.
All at once, dude. Have you ever? Well, you probably have.
You gotta look at it glass half full, glass half empty. You have so much, and people in this community, you know, look up to you. All right, they do. People in the community actually look.
Did you see this fool's face? Like, oh, dude, come on, bro, you're such a liar.
Up to Wings. Wings has been around for forever, and as much as people battle with you, people do respect you.
No, they don't.
You know, and
not even then they didn't.
Look at how many people tune into PKA. No offense to Woody, but if you were out of it, it'd be probably like half the people there.
No, that's wrong.
El Presidor joined the call soon after. He was still furious over the death threat and immediately clapped back at Wings' earlier comments about him leeching for views.
Still intent on calling the FBI.
Yeah, but you're too lazy, and I also know that.
That's coming from that fat ass. Wow.
Their back and forth was heated, but eventually they agreed to let it go publicly, sweeping the conflict under the rug.
In the end, however, the drama was resolved.
Well, so, Wings, El Presidor, this is a breakthrough moment. El Presidor said, let's sweep it under the rug. What do you think, Wings?
But it was what Wings said afterward that painted the clearest picture of his mental state. He admitted that YouTube itself was the root of his depression. Whenever he was offline, he felt miserable, weighed down by the constant harassment, the hate, and the endless stream of out-of-context clips that trolls used against him. Yet he
Out-of-context clips. He's still saying that bullshit.
couldn't quit, not just because it paid more than a normal job,
He's still
but because it
saying
had become
that
his
now.
entire identity. To him, leaving YouTube would mean going back to being a nobody in real life, and he couldn't bear that thought. Gaming and YouTube had defined his self-worth since the beginning of his career, and now, with his channel stagnating and views dropping, he felt trapped in a cycle of misery.
Depression? Can we say that?
I'm not really depressed though. I mean, as soon as I leave this room, I'm happy. As soon as I forget all of this, I'm happy. That's why I said beforehand when I was a little more upset that I know what I need to do. What I need to do is quit YouTube and move on with my life. But at the same
But he won't.
time, this is the high
wow.
point so far in my life. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be the only high point in my life. It's hard to walk away from having access to 50,000 people. It's hard to walk away from, you know, basically being able to get advice at any time of the day, any day of the week.
Advice from who?
It's hard to walk away from, you know, being somebody of importance to going
So instead of just saying it's hard to walk away from all the money and the attention, he keeps saying all this other shit.
back into a world.
Which, yeah, I would totally agree with him here. Like, that's a very logical explanation. Yeah, I don't want to go work a regular job. I'm just a number. I'm just a regular person, you know, starting at the bottom. And then dude, yeah. But you probably also couldn't find a job that would pay as much as he was making either.
Where you're
That's a very reasonable, yeah.
Keemstar even offered him advice on how to revive his content. He pointed out that Wings had been making essentially the same style of videos since he started, while many other commentary...
And he's literally doing the same thing how many years later? Over a decade later, he's still doing the same shit.
YouTubers had evolved,
And
experimented...
let's be real, if it wasn't for LOLCOW Live and all that money he made, what do you think he'd be doing the last 2 years? You think he'd change his content at all? Or what?
And worn different hats to keep things fresh. If Wings wanted to feel better about himself and have success again, Keem said, he needed to adapt, change things up, diversify, and break out of the rut that was dragging him down.
I've had so many different hats that I put on, where you, Wings, you've kind of just been the same guy for like 5 years. You know what I mean? Maybe it's time to reinvent yourself. And the reason why I say this...
Don't change, but reinvent yourself.
Yeah, because you uploaded the video and you were like, I don't know what to do with my channel anymore. Like, if I get into drama, you know, I get views, but if I just upload a gameplay, I only get 10,000. So maybe there needs to be a Wings talk show. Maybe there needs to be a Wings in real life thing. Maybe there needs to be something different, like reinvent yourself. You know?
I mean, the fact that he is getting advice from someone who is super successful on YouTube this early on, and he had all this opportunity, all these doors, and what he is right now is not much different from 10 years ago, is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. What an entitled fat piece of shit.
You know?
But here's the tragedy. While the advice was solid, adapting wasn't something Wings was good at. He was stuck.
Right. He change or having to do anything that's difficult. Right.
Stubborn, set in his ways, and afraid of failure. The same insecurity that pushed him to lash out at trolls also kept him from evolving as a creator. In his mind, change was a risk, and risks were terrifying when your entire sense of self depended on holding on to the little success you had left. This moment on Keemstar's podcast exposed everything. Wings' depression, his fragile self-worth, his unwillingness to adapt, and his toxic relationship with the very platform that gave him purpose. It wasn't just a moment of drama. It was a glimpse into the cycle that would follow him for years. Bursts of hope,
And
crashes
still has not changed at all.
of anger, attempts to rebuild, and the inevitable spiral back down. It showed that for Wings of Redemption, the real battle wasn't against trolls or fellow creators, it was against himself. After the podcast, Wings tried to settle back into his routine. He continued uploading his usual Call of Duty commentaries, but began mixing in a few more vlogs. For a short while, these vlogs helped bring some life back to his channel. They gave fans a glimpse into his personal world, something a little different from the endless gameplay. But the momentum didn't last long. By January of 2013, disaster struck again, this time hitting him where it hurt most, his income. Machinima, the network that had been Wings' lifeline, suddenly dropped him. For years, Machinima was one of the biggest names in the YouTube gaming scene, providing partnerships and revenue to thousands of creators. But Wings had been in their red zone for quite some time. His views weren't performing the way they once did, and promises he made to Machinima, whether about output, growth, or consistency, had gone unfulfilled.
Probably output and consistency.
Eventually,
yeah.
they cut ties.
I made a few decisions in my life.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Look at the pterodactyl's nest. Holy shit. Oh my god. Is there any time he's not a fat piece of shit? Oh man.
Really crippled me when they dropped me. Because I had like a 3-year contract with Machinima. I signed one.
Oh, he's crying.
And under the
Oh,
premise
he's
of me signing a 3-year contract,
Oh my god, he's crying.
I bought things and made obligations that I normally otherwise would not have.
Why?
So basically, my channel's not doing very well. I've been going into the red for February, March, April, May, June, 5 months now. And when I got that week off, it kind of like kick-started a lazy bug in me. And
kick-started the lazy bug in me. So instead of saying I just didn't work like I supposed to, I really just had a hard time, I just was in my feelings, whatever. No, it was something, it was a lazy bug that started inside of me.
When you start getting lazy, you start laying down, you start sleeping more, you start getting depressed, you start realizing how fat you are, and then being fat depresses you, and that makes you want to eat. When you eat, you feel depressed. It's just a constant cycle of being a failure.
Oh my god.
For Wings, this was catastrophic. YouTube was his only real...
Yeah, your life was so hard. Oh my... Dude, this fool has no clue what it's like to struggle for frickin' anything. Oh, that makes me so angry. Dude, this fool tries to blame his gray beard and losing his hair on the stresses he's had to deal with. This fool has never had to deal with anything difficult in his entire life.
Source of income, and without Machinima, he was left scrambling. Rather than partner with YouTube directly, Wings signed with another network, Fullscreen TV, but the deal was far less lucrative. He went from making solid money with Machinima to scraping by with a contract that offered significantly lower pay. Overnight, his financial stability was gutted, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. Adding to the pressure, Wings suffered yet another breakup. In a now-deleted video, he admitted that his relationship had ended, and he was left not only alone, but in financial ruin. He confessed that he was broke, unable to afford even something as simple as taking someone out for dinner.
I can't afford to go get another girlfriend because I can't afford to take people out right now because
I can't afford to take people out right now.
I'm pretty much...
So that's how you know this fool has no skill. Like, he really has the nerve to say, I can't get women. Hey, idiot. You know, you could have just, taken them out to a park, go for a walk. There's a lot of things you can do if you actually have a personality and you actually have a little bit of game that doesn't cost any money, stupid. Oh, my God.
Making no money. Every month's the red.
For a man who had already tied so much of his self-worth to his channel, this was another blow to his confidence and his sense of direction. His uploads began to slow, where he had once been consistent.
Right. I mean, and what is he doing all day? So you mean to tell me this fool couldn't upload 3-4 videos every day? He has nothing to do all day. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a family. Doesn't have a kid. Doesn't have anything. What was he doing all day, bro? Like that. See, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, dude, if I would upload 4 or 5 times a day if I could. If this was something I could do 5 or 6, 7 hours a day, I would upload 5, 6, 7 videos every single day.
Pushing out content to keep the algorithm on his side, now he barely uploaded.
Wow.
His channel had stagnated, sitting stubbornly at around 400,000 subscribers, and the view counts were a shadow of what they once were. His audience was moving on, but Wings wasn't. He also became more vocal about his growing disillusionment with content creation. On multiple occasions, he vented that he didn't even feel like making Call of Duty videos anymore, but continued anyway because he needed the money. It was no longer about passion, no longer about proving himself, it was survival. And in many ways, that lack of motivation bled into the videos themselves. The gameplay and commentary felt tired, recycled, and uninspired, a reflection of how Wings himself was feeling. This was the state Wings of Redemption found himself in during 2013, financially strained, emotionally drained, stuck in a creative rut, and unsure of how to move forward. What had once been his escape had become his prison. Seeing the downward spiral Wings was on, his longtime friend and co-host of the Painkiller Already podcast, Kyle, decided to step in. Kyle came up with an idea that could potentially save both Wings' health and his career, a weight loss challenge. The proposal was simple but ambitious. Wings would move in with Kyle for a month, lose 50 pounds under his guidance, and turn the entire process into a YouTube series. Kyle promised to handle the editing and production, leaving Wings to focus entirely on
wow, so he wouldn't have to literally do anything but just show up. Oh, weird.
his lifestyle.
One episode, I threw this at Wings because, he was bemoaning his
stationary life.
Sure, and I said, look, man, come to my house. We'll do a month-long boot camp. We'll get the fans behind it. We'll do a Kickstarter to get you like fitness gear, supplies. We'll film the entire thing. We'll make posters. We'll make coffee mugs. We'll get like a big viewership. Not only will this revive your body, it'll revive your YouTube channel. This will be amazing. Come to my house. I'll take a month out of my schedule. I will devote it to you. We'll do this thing together. It'll be fun.
Unbelievable.
I sort of half-heartedly meant it. I didn't really expect him to ever say yes because of all the things that we told you so far. He doesn't get out of his bubble too much. And then the man said yes.
For Wings, the idea was intimidating. He openly admitted that he was a homebody, uncomfortable with change, and nervous about putting himself in such a vulnerable position.
It's a really big change in life, and it's...
Imagine having the freedom, financially, to just say, you know what, I'm going to go live somewhere else for 30 days and not pay for everything. Everything will be taken care of. I don't have to worry about anything. And then the place I'm staying in will be totally fine. Imagine being able to do that at however old he is right here. What, 24, 25? Jesus Christ, bro. Oh, my God damn.
It's a change that kind of makes you feel better about yourself.
Man.
But at the same time, he knew something had to give. His weight had been a point of mockery, insecurity, and struggle for years. His YouTube channel was dying, his personal life was collapsing, and his mental health was deteriorating. So, on October 13th, 2013, Wings took the leap and traveled to Kyle's house to begin what would become one of the most pivotal experiments of his career. As at, Kyle even went as far as remodeling parts of his house to accommodate Wings' size, including adjustments to the bathroom.
Now look, I'll be a little more impartial here. I mean, it sounded like he was gonna remodel his bathroom anyway. Not necessarily because, I mean, come on, let's be a little fair.
And so that night I was taking a shower in my shower after the show, and I was washing my hair, and I bumped my elbow on the shower wall, and I was like, God, the shower is a little narrow. And then it occurred to me, Wings of Redemption could not fit into my shower. And if he was going to live with me, we would have to put in a new shower. So construction began the next day on a $5,000 shower. we tore.
This gesture showed just how invested Kyle was in giving them Wings every possible chance at success.
I mean, and also he just, it was an opportunity for him to redo his shower also. I mean, let's be fair.
Soon
right?
the workout vlogs began rolling out on Wings' channel, and to everyone's surprise,
dude, of all the people who just absolutely can't stand this fool, I am fair. I would like to think I'm fair. Stern, but fair.
Performed exceptionally well. For the first time in a long while, Wings' audience was engaged and excited. The series also forced Wings to open up more about his struggles with weight and self-perception. In one of his vlogs, he reflected on how he used to think he was overweight when he was around 300 pounds, a number that seems small compared to where he was now.
Oh my god. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Look at his flapjack. Titties. God damn. Look at his fupa. And this fool's 300 pounds here. Bullshit, dude. He's got to be at least 380. Dude, holy shit.
I was kind of disappointed in myself how I wasn't as strong as I remember myself being.
What do you mean by that?
But I guess that's the way most things happen. Is you always feel like you were better at a certain point. Like I found myself remembering.
God, look at his titties.
Thinking back to when I used to be like 330 pounds, and back then I thought I was. Really, really heavy, and like now I'd kill to be 330. Like, oh, Lord, that's 110 pounds, you know.
Okay, so he's 440 right here.
And that's exactly what it is.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
330. Like, oh, Lord, that's 110 pounds, you know. And that's exactly what it is. It's 110 pounds, and there's really nothing you can.
Do you have no shame, fool? Do you know how much money it would take for me right now to do what you're doing? Right now, dude. We're talking thousands of dollars to take my shirt off on camera. That is how insecure I am of taking my shirt off. And I'm not even close to how fat you are. Dude, just no shame, bro. Just no shame at all. God damn. Oh my God, he had to lift up his pumpkin puss right there, dude. Holy shit.
Really nothing that you can do about it, but...
These raw, personal insights gave viewers a glimpse into his insecurities and vulnerabilities, and the overwhelming support he received online became one of his driving motivators.
And let's also be, he did this specifically because he thought it would gain traction and have people change their perception of him. There's no way he did that for anything else other than that. There's just no way. No way.
Even better, the physical results were real. In the very first week of the challenge, Wings lost an impressive 25 pounds. He credited his audience's encouragement as the reason he was able to push through the initial discomfort and fatigue. For once, both the numbers on the scale and the numbers on YouTube were moving in the right direction. But in classic Wings fashion, the momentum didn't last. Despite the progress, he soon began to feel like he had hit a plateau. Frustration set in, and he started voicing doubts about continuing.
A plateau?
This baffled not only his viewers, but also his friends, who had invested time, effort, and energy into helping him succeed. Kyle had gone out of his way to make this possible, and the community...
What does he mean, a plateau?
He was rallying behind him. Yet Wings was already talking about giving up. It all came to a head during an episode of Painkiller Already, where his co-host staged a kind of intervention. They reminded him that his channel was finally doing well again, that he had more support than ever, and that this was a rare opportunity to turn his life around.
We've got all these people here trying to help you, Wings. We're smashing our heads.
We're working on hour 2 of you telling me the same thing.
Well, when are you going to get it in your dumbass skull that we are trying to help you? There are tens of thousands of people out there that are rooting for you, and all you can
Oh my gosh.
do is sit there and say, can't be bothered.
To their credit, they weren't wrong. Wings had a genuinely solid support system at this time. After some convincing, Wings
Insane, dude.
agreed to stick with the challenge, and by the end of the month, he managed to lose a respectable amount of weight, even if he fell short of the original 50-pound goal. After the fact, Kyle spoke candidly about what it was like living with Wings during this experiment, and his recollections weren't flattering. He described the month as one of the worst periods of his life, painting Wings as a reclusive and socially awkward house guest. Kyle claimed that Wings often isolated himself, staying in his own bubble, and seemed to lack awareness of basic social etiquette. In one infamous story, Kyle revealed that Wings would leave the bathroom door open even while using it, despite Kyle's roommate and girlfriend being present in the house.
Living with him outside of the workout was one of the most horrible ordeals of my life. That
Of his life, he said.
month was one of the worst months of
I could not imagine living with that dude for a month. Oh my gosh.
my life, because Wings lives within his own bubble. He doesn't socialize, and so he doesn't curtail himself to social norms. Right away, myself, my roommate Kitty, and my girlfriend were in my kitchen, and the bathroom is visible from the kitchen, and we hear this noise of water flowing into more water, and we all look up ponderously, and the bathroom door is agape, and Wings is pissing, and we
Oh my gosh.
and we can see most of him. I couldn't see the penis, nor could he. He was pissing, and we all and we were all just in shock. And finally, my roommate Kitty yelled, "Close the goddamn door! You're pissing with the door open!" She's British, if you can't tell. And we all just bust out laughing. Like, can you believe that? He's like, "What? What's the big deal? You know?"
Oh, that is. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Just taking a piss. And I'm like,
It was moments like these that highlighted just how out of touch Wings could be when it came to living with others, further fueling the reputation that he was difficult to be around. The weight loss challenge was a bittersweet chapter in Wings of Redemption's history. On one hand, it showed that with structure, support, and accountability, he could make progress, both physically and creatively. His fans were re-engaged, his channel got a much-needed boost, and for once, people were rooting for him instead of trolling him. On the other hand, it also revealed the deeper patterns that plagued him. His tendency to quit when things got tough, his inability to fully appreciate the helping
path of least resistance, right.
and the awkward personal habits that strained his relationships. After returning home from Kyle's, Wings actually surprised a lot of people by continuing some of the progress he had made. He went on regular walks to maintain his weight and even hired a personal trainer named Drew.
Put up some decent weight, considering we just got started, you haven't done this in a while. But
Oh my gosh, dude. Hey, bro. Listen, alright? The only thing this dude is better at than me is eating. I mean, bro, there has never been a single point in my life, and I'm fat, dude. Like, I'm fat. I've never had 1, 2, 3. Never. I've never had a fupa. I've never had a pumpkin puss. I've never had a front butt. I've never had a beanbag chair in front of my dick. Like, that has never happened in my entire life. I can't imagine how much you have to eat to get like that. I mean, it's insane amount of food. Insane amount of calories. Insane.
The endurance there.
He doesn't want to embarrass me. I did 12 reps of 100.
What?
And then I went straight to 15 pounds and I struggled.
Drew occasionally appeared on Wings' channel, and the two quickly became close. Unlike Kyle, Drew had real training knowledge and discipline, and he was able to give Wings the structure.
But wait a minute. You look at what Kyle looks like. He's not fat.
And expertise that he desperately needed. For a time, Drew acted as both a trainer and a friend, someone who kept Wings accountable while still encouraging him through the struggles. It worked, at least temporarily. Wings kept up with the routines and showed genuine improvement, not just physically, but...
Hey, fat ass, just imagine, if you had just kept up with those routines from that point on to now, what you would look like. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
But mentally
that has to hurt.
As well. Viewers began to notice the difference. While he was still mocked and trolled by many in the broader YouTube community, a surprising number of fans started to come back around, acknowledging that he was at least trying. He was making some attempts to change his content, to address his health, and to take his life in a new direction. For once, the narrative around Wings seemed to be shifting toward positivity. Even if other creators were still critical, he had one major advantage: the support of his PKA friends. Woody and Kyle defended him publicly and encouraged him to keep going. The podcast remained a safe space where he could vent, joke, and be part of something bigger. In many ways, PKA was the glue that kept him afloat during this stage of his career, but with Wings of Redemption, stability never lasts long. In 2014, during a regular PKA episode, the group stumbled into a conversation about survival shows and survival video games. This casual
here we go.
talk sparked a bold idea. Why not plan their own real-life survival trip? A full 5 days in the wilderness, bringing only the...
And all he had to do was just say, no, I don't like that. I'm not that kind of person. and you guys can go ahead and do it. I'm good. That's all he had to do. That's all he had to do.
Essentials, living off the land as best they could. It would be a fun challenge, something new for the podcast, and great content to share with the community.
It's into April or something. And Factions Fire, if you guys are interested, if you're watching this weekend, next weekend it resets. So, and then I was like, I'm just going to make this happen. And I decided about my own rules, right? We were like going all over, and I was like, let's bring lots of ammo and tools and stuff like that. And then Kyle was like, let's bring a match and a banana hammock, a Speedo, and we'll see what goes on. And I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to define this thing. I'm going to invite you guys. And if you come, you come. If you don't, I run solo.
Initially, the plan included all 4 co-hosts, Kyle, Woody, Wings, and Lefty. But Lefty quickly opted out, saying he wouldn't be available for the trip.
At the wrong opportunity, but I am going to have to remove my hat from this. I don't even remember tossing my hat in the ring. I think it was just forcibly put there by everybody else.
Instead of just letting it go, Wings took the opportunity to clown him. He mocked Lefty relentlessly, joking that if he didn't want to come along, maybe he could just stay back and clean the guns, playing into the idea that Lefty wasn't tough enough for the outdoors anyway.
I don't have outdoors experience, and on top of that, I don't understand survival. And on top of that, I've never shot a gun before, and I don't know what I'm...
Well, very reasonable why he doesn't want to do that.
You don't have to shoot guns. You can clean it.
That left the survival roster down to 3, Woody, Kyle, and Wings. From the beginning, Woody and Kyle were all in. They started buying gear, planning strategies, and building hype for the trip. Both of them uploaded videos showing off their survival kits, walking viewers through the food, tools, and supplies they were bringing.
The attendants will begin making videos to hype up the survival trip and bring more exposure to it. They would present the gear they were going to bring and explain its uses, as well as showcasing the talents and techniques they had picked up in preparation for the trip. But when it came to Wings,
the energy was contagious. Fans were excited to see how these internet personalities would handle a real-world challenge. Wings, however, didn't match that enthusiasm. When he finally uploaded his own video, the difference was glaring.
He had purchased very little compared to the other two, and preparation videos had very little in terms of information or how he had been preparing for the trip.
Where Woody and Kyle looked prepared, motivated, and ready for adventure, Wings' gear looked sparse and uninspired. He didn't seem to have put much thought into it, and his tone was less about excitement and more about obligation. It was as if he were being dragged into something he didn't really want to do. That hesitation carried over into the podcast too. Every time the trip came up, Wings sounded reluctant, making excuse after excuse for why it couldn't happen yet. He suggested pushing it back to May instead of April. He even claimed that because the trip was scheduled so close to his birthday on April 21st, he wouldn't be able to go until after. To Kyle and Woody, it came across less like scheduling conflicts and more like stalling.
My birthday's April 21st, and I'm not going anytime before that.
Wait, why? I've never heard of anyone celebrating a birth month before.
Yeah.
Whoever heard of a birth month?
Women.
My birthday is May 9th. First off, I still need to practice. I don't have all my stuff. My boots are in the mail. I don't even have pants.
Look, we're talking about doing this in 16...
But his co-hosts weren't letting him off the hook. They pushed him to commit, insisting the date had already been set, April 14th. They weren't about to let Wings wriggle out of it. Eventually, after enough pressure, he agreed.
Look, we're talking about doing this in 17 days, 18 days from now. That's what we just talked about.
Amazon Prime.
And you're like, my boots are still in the mail, man. I've got to get more skills.
I was always under the impression it was going to be beginning of May.
Dude, let's do this. Let's do this. April 14th, don't say no. Don't puss out. Don't be a sissy. Don't be a loser. Be a winner. Make a thing happen.
Why are you against May?
You want to live an extraordinary... Because May is the distant future. You want to live an extraordinary life. You want to do extraordinary things. Then you find out how to make them go. I watched the Painkiller Already subreddit, and they're like, man, a lot of these guys would really like to do this. Man, I would like to do this thing. There's a reason not a lot of people do this. That is because they're wired to figure out reasons why they can't do it, why they shouldn't do it.
I'm not backing out. I'm the last person who's going to back out.
The fans were thrilled. Not only was this going to be an entertaining survival challenge, it was going to be another big moment in Wings' story. Some people hoped it would be a breakthrough for him, forcing him out of his comfort zone. Others predicted disaster, imagining the chaos of Wings trying to rough it in the wild. Either way, people were excited, with Woody and Kyle showing their gear, hyping up the adventure, and making detailed plans. The trip felt real. Everything was set. The date was locked. The group was ready. Then came the fabled night before the trip. According to Kyle, the disaster began the night before the survival trip. He was already on the road, just a few hours away from where the group had agreed to meet. Excited, he gave Wings a call to check in. He asked if Wings was ready, if he needed anything, and even offered to rent a motel with 2 rooms so they could share. But instead of hearing enthusiasm or even nervousness on the other end of the line, Kyle was blindsided. Wings calmly told him that he wasn't coming.
I'm driving in the night before, and I think to myself, hey, let me give old Wings a call, make sure we're all good to go here, because it's Wings. Call him up, say, hey man, you ready to do this thing? I'm driving in now, about 3 hours from the place. What are you up to? You could leave, if you left right now, you'd be here around 11, and you could share this motel room with me. I could get a room with 2 beds or something. He's like, I'm not coming. What? What do you mean? I'm not coming. When were you going to tell me? I'm telling you right now. What the? So I call. I text
What
you.
a piece of shit, dude.
Literally the night before the trip, after months of planning, after all the hype, after the gear had been bought and the date locked in, Wings pulled the plug. Shocked and frustrated, Kyle immediately called Woody, hoping for the same thing that had worked so many times in the past. Woody talking Wings back into it. Time and again, when Wings wavered or tried to back out of something, Woody had been the voice of reason that convinced him to follow through. But not this time. No amount of convincing could get Wings to change his mind.
He's not fucking going. And so Woody gets on the phone with him. Woody tries to talk, and I'm thinking, like, Woody's going to talk him into this. I'm still driving with this idea. Woody will talk him into this. Woody's a great motivational speaker when he needs to be. And I'm sure Woody was
selling compilations of me telling Wings, like, if you want to be an extraordinary person, you have to do extraordinary things.
Be a winner, not a loser. Be a doer, not a don'ter.
Very Rollins-esque, yeah.
Yeah, this sort of talk, and he just doesn't come. He just doesn't come.
The survival trip that was supposed to feature the 3 of them became just Kyle and Woody, and even that didn't go smoothly. Kyle fell dangerously ill during the trip. forcing them to cut it short. What could have been an epic PKA adventure ended in disappointment, frustration, and another black mark on Wings' reputation. When fans asked why he had backed out, Wings uploaded a series of defensive videos trying to justify his decision. He explained that none of them actually had survival experience, and that going into the woods for days on end was too dangerous. He also cited his mental health, saying he simply wasn't in the right headspace, and that people should realize just how bad things must have been if he was willing to risk his friendships and his channel by canceling at the last minute. In his mind, it wasn't cowardice, it was self-preservation.
Obviously, I didn't go to the PKA survival trip today, and I've seen people tell me like, "Oh, why don't you go now? Go now, do it." Dude, that's not an option. And the reason I didn't tell them ahead of time is mainly because
It's because you're a coward.
didn't want to basically
Right, you
start
didn't want to own up to what you did, and you just have so much estrogen in your blood that you waited till the day before to do it. Yeah.
trend up before
Wow.
and have them try to talk me out of it because I'd already made my mind up. I wasn't going to go. I didn't want to deal with it. You think I want to be this person? You think I want to?
What do you mean you want to be this person?
Wanted to make a decision where, you know, it could be the end of my channel or the end of friendships. You think I want to be like on the outs with Kyle and Woody? No,
Yeah, you do.
I don't. But the fact is, I got to the point emotionally where I was willing to risk my channel never rebounding. I was willing to risk my friendship with Kyle and Woody because I was afraid of this trip. And that right there should speak volumes.
Yeah, you should have just said that right off the bat, idiot.
Where I was at mentally.
But to Kyle, Woody, and the fans, it was something else entirely. Betrayal. The trip had been a group effort, something they had all invested time, money, and energy into. To cancel the night before, after months of build-up, felt like another instance of Wings sabotaging himself and dragging others down in the process. For the PKA crew, this may have been the final straw. Not long after the failed survival trip, Woody and Kyle made the difficult decision to remove Wings from the podcast. It was a shocking move, given that Wings was the one who had originally started PKA in the first place. But from their perspective, the constant drama, unreliability, and public meltdowns had become too much to handle. At first, Woody and Kyle tried to handle the situation with respect. Out of loyalty to their longtime friend, they didn't speak negatively about Wings publicly. They didn't trash him, they didn't reveal behind-the-scenes details, they simply moved forward without him.
Yes, I suppose we should talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, so we've decided, it was a group decision, we decided that Wings of Redemption wasn't going to continue with us. You know, he's having a hard time, and he's made some decisions that we didn't feel were so friendly, so for the time being.
But Wings didn't take kindly to being kicked off the very show he had helped create. Before long, he began lashing out on Twitter, airing his grievances, and reigniting the drama that his friends had tried so hard to put to rest. In his response video, Woody finally broke his silence. He addressed the situation head-on, pointing to Wings' behavior on Twitter. Wings had been telling people that the PKA members were never really his friends, and even went so far as to claim on Keemstar's show that they never gave him a cut of the podcast money. But this didn't line up with his own words, because in other videos, Wings admitted that getting kicked off PKA cost him nearly a third of his income.
The core of it is he says like these guys were that the PKA crew were never friends to him, that we never called him.
Yeah, that's wild.
We didn't share the money with him and things like that, and that frustrates me because it's a lie. And that's kind of why he's gone, because it was this constant backstabbing, this constant taking shots at him. Every time he fell into some sort of slump or got grumpy or whatever, he would lash out at all the people that were close to him. The truth is, like, if you follow Wings on Twitter, you know that sometimes he'll just go off about all his personal problems and put that on Twitter. And I would be the guy that texted him or called him and tried to sort of work it out. I was the guy that held his Twitter account to sort of back off on that a little bit.
To Woody, this was part of a long-running pattern. Whenever Wings was upset, depressed, or in a bad place, he lashed out at the people closest to him, whether it was Woody, Kyle, or anyone else who tried to help. Instead of recognizing the support he'd been given, Wings twisted things to make himself the victim. Woody explained that this wasn't what real friendship looked like. But what really stung was a separate incident involving another online personality known as Jesus. This was someone who had threatened to rape Woody's wife and daughter, a line that went far beyond trolling or internet beef. Instead of condemning the man, Wings had actually donated money to him.
When obviously
What?
Jesus he said that he was going to rape my daughter, rape my wife after he kicked my ass, and he called Colin retarded 100 times. And Wings donated money to that guy because he thought it would make him look good.
Are you serious? And you are still friends? You were still friends with him?
For Woody, that was unforgivable. It showed not just poor judgment, but a betrayal of the very people who had stood by him for years. Woody laid it all out for the audience. He reminded viewers that both he and Kyle had gone above and beyond for Wings, time and time again. Kyle had literally remodeled his bathroom to accommodate Wings' size, taken a month out of his life to help him lose weight, and even created content to upload directly to Wings' channel so that his friend could grow his brand. And Woody himself? He had always been Wings' first line of defense whenever things went wrong, whenever trolls attacked him, whenever other YouTubers mocked him, and Woody was there to defend his reputation. Just like during the Keemstar podcast when El Presador came after Wings. The reality was simple. They had been good friends. They had done everything in their power to support him both personally and professionally, and yet, Wings had the audacity to turn around and claim they were never really friends at all. To Woody and Kyle and to many fans watching, it wasn't just ungrateful, it was shameful. Even with his friendships in ruins and his reputation taking another hit, Wings still had one thing going for him, his fans. In late 2014, he launched what became known as the 365 Walking Challenge, where he committed to walking 4 miles a day for an entire year.
4 miles a day. What? 4 miles a day? Oh, get out of here with that.
For the first time in a while, his content felt consistent, focused, and positive. Viewers tuned in not just to see gameplay, but to track his progress and cheer him on. The series gave his audience a reason to root for him again, and despite losing Kyle and Woody, he showed that he wasn't entirely alone. While his personal relationships were falling apart, the Walking Challenge proved that a core fanbase was still willing to support him as long as he showed effort and consistency. It was a rare moment where the community seemed to rally behind Wings instead of against him. That was until day 79, when Wings slipped off track and admitted he had gained 6 pounds back. It was a discouraging setback.
How? If he's walking that much, how is he gaining weight like that?
But his old trainer, Drew, stepped in and offered to train him for free. With Drew's guidance, Wings managed to keep pushing forward. For nearly a year, his content shifted away from Call of Duty and leaned more toward workout vlogs, progress updates, and glimpses into his attempts at self-improvement. While he wasn't pulling the same numbers as before, it showed a different side of him, one focused less on gaming and more on personal growth. People stopped seeing Wings of Redemption purely as a gamer and began noticing more of his personality. As his YouTube uploads slowed down, he gradually transitioned into streaming on Twitch instead. On Twitch, the curtain pulled back further, and what viewers saw was not just a creator streaming games, but a man unraveling in real time. Wings' streams became a raw record of struggle. He was candid about his finances, admitting that he was living off savings, that YouTube uploads had almost stopped, and that the steady
Why? Why would he stop uploading on YouTube?
income he once relied on had evaporated. For someone whose identity and security had been wrapped up in an internet career, that was devastating. More alarming were the things he said about his future. On multiple streams, he verbalized a plan that sounded irreversible. He intended to keep going the way he was, burning through savings until there was nothing left and then end his life.
So let's see Wings. His highs are nice and high, right? He's working with Drew. He's enjoying weightlifting, which is a cool thing. He hasn't really enjoyed any workout prior to that. He, I guess that's it. Those are his highs. On the on the downside, his financial situation continues to head worse, right? Like, and he stopped working basically. So his job, of course, is to make YouTube videos. And what has he made? Like maybe 3 in the last month?
What? What? Are you kidding me, dude? Are you? Oh.
Yeah, he's living off his savings.
So he's gaining weight, he's losing money, and he was on a Twitch stream. So as we say this is maybe like 5 days ago, I'm guessing. He said his plan was still to keep doing what he's doing until he runs out of money and then not murder himself. Suicide, that's what I'm looking for.
Those words spoken in front of thousands of viewers were a signal flare for how dark his thinking had become. Some of the audience responded with concern and attempts to help. Others reacted with skepticism or cruelty, accusing him of seeking attention. Either way, the statements altered how people followed him from that point on. His online presence stopped being just entertainment and became a live, fragile negotiation between survival and collapse. At the same time, his professional support system was eroding. Drew, the personal trainer who had once provided structure and accountability, was no longer a regular on his channel. The workouts that had once been central to his content and to his recovery fell away. Without a coach in his corner, Wings' discipline slipped. He fell off his diet, he stopped training consistently, and within months, much of the weight he had fought to lose returned. The physical comeback mirrored an emotional regression. The visible progress he had shown during the bootcamp faded, and with it the sense of momentum that had briefly lifted him out of the rut. The consequences rippled outward. Friends who had stood by him grew weary. Professional relationships thinned. The viewers who once cheered on his walks and workouts were now watching a repeating pattern, a short stretch of effort, a visible relapse, angry or despairing streams, and then a period of silence. His channel, which had once been an engine of both identity and income, produced less and less content that advertisers or platforms wanted to promote. That meant fewer viewers, less revenue, and a feedback loop that fed the very despair he described on stream. Financial strain amplified social isolation. He had no steady job to fall back on, and with savings dwindling, the practicalities of daily life became a source of stress and humiliation. Relationships that might have offered stability were gone. The girlfriend he had supported previously had left. Long-term friendships were fractured by public feuds and private betrayals, and the small victories that once defined him on YouTube no longer translated into respect in his everyday life. For viewers and for anyone watching closely, this period was tragic and destructive. It showed how digital fame can concentrate risk, when income, identity, social networks, and emotion—
No, dude, no. This is on him. This is not on what you just said, dude. No way. Like, he could not handle what he was given because he's never had to handle anything difficult in his entire life, and his whole basis, his whole identity was based on being good at one thing, and just absolutely, when he lost that 1v1, I think that's clearly when the downfall started. Clearly.
Emotional validation all come from the same unstable source. A downturn in one area cascades into all the others. Wings' situation became a cautionary case about what happens when a person's entire sense of worth is tied to an audience that can be fickle, cruel, or simply move on. None of these excuses the moments in which he lashed out, threatened others, or made choices that burned bridges. Those actions had real costs and real victims. At the same time, the live broadcasts of his decline were an urgent reminder that public figures are still people, and that when someone talks about ending their life, the appropriate response is concern, intervention, and care, not mockery. The Twitch era for Wings was not a comeback. It was a raw and painful exposure of how fragile a life built on internet attention can be. By 2016, Wings of Redemption had shifted almost entirely into Twitch streaming as his main source of income. On paper, it looked like he had carved out a sustainable lane, streaming regularly, interacting with fans, and keeping himself in the gaming space. But in practice, this era revealed some of the most infamous and unflattering moments of his entire career. One of the first viral clips that put his Twitch streams on the wider map was him venting about Call of Duty. He admitted through frustration that he hated the game because it had ruined his life.
I had almost 700 on the COD remaster, man. Like, I hate Call of Duty.
I hate Call of Duty.
I hate it. It ruined my life. You're everything about it.
The statement wasn't just hyperbole. Viewers could hear in his tone the bitterness and regret tied to his failed YouTube career. This kind of raw outburst.
Oh my god!
Quickly became a staple of his content, whether intentional or not. But what really accelerated his notoriety on Twitch was how poorly he treated the very fans who supported him. Wings developed a reputation for being toxic and hostile toward its viewers. Stories spread about him telling one fan that he hopes your entire family dies in a car crash simply because the fan outplayed him in a match.
Okay.
Oh, here it is.
How the game works, buddy. That's the mechanic in the fucking game. You know? I'm just trolling you, chill. It's not for you.
Yeah, whatever. I hope your family dies in an automobile wreck.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh my god.
I say that because you're a piece of shit.
In another instance, when a viewer tried to offer him tips on Rainbow Six Siege, Wings threatened to ban them outright. These weren't isolated moments. They reflected a pattern of hostility, entitlement, and inability to handle frustration.
Ban Lardmuff, by the way. You're supposed to ban anybody that wants to sit here and criticize my skill.
Rather than
criticize my skill.
turning people away, however, this behavior attracted a new type of audience. Just like figures such as Chris Chan or Nikocado Avocado, Wings had inadvertently built a viewer base that tuned in not out of admiration, but to watch him unravel. His rages, meltdowns, and over-the-top reactions became the main draw. Fans would actively troll him, baiting him into outbursts, knowing that his lack of self-control would lead to explosive and entertaining results. This dynamic created an ecosystem outside of Wings' own channel. YouTube creators like Sean Ranklin started uploading compilations of Wings' Twitch meltdowns, and these channels often gained more traction and views than Wings' actual content. Clips of him crying about his failed weight loss surgery or delivering his now iconic "look here, look listen" rant went viral, cementing his place in internet culture not as a respected creator, but
please play
as a
that.
spectacle.
Just please play it. Yes.
Look here. Look, listen. Appearing offline does not stop it. So stop giving advice you know nothing about.
By this point, Wings wasn't just a gamer anymore, he had become content for others. His legacy was no longer tied to the Call of Duty commentary scene, but to his public meltdowns, infamous soundbites, and his inability to separate himself from the trolls that relentlessly fed on his reactions. However, the trolls never ran out of ways to get under Wings' skin. They thrived on his reactions, and the louder and angrier he became, the more determined they were to keep pushing. One of the most effective trolling tactics from this period came from a small piece of personal information. At some point, people discovered that the house Wings was living in had once been listed under the name Richard Jordan. Very quickly, Richard became a running gag in his streams and chats, with trolls spamming the name constantly.
That's where Richard comes from. Oh my god.
Just keep saying Richard. Keep in mind, if you continue to say Richard, whether you're a sub or not, we're just going to get rid of you for 24 hours, right?
To Wings, this was not funny. He got annoyed whenever the name came up, insisting again and again that nobody in his family was named Richard, and that it had nothing to do with him.
My brother's name is not Richard. My brother's name is Kenneth. It's not Richard.
Oh,
There's
yeah, there you go.
Nobody in my family named Richard. I don't know where you guys get this.
But his denials only made things worse. The trolls saw
Like, wow, why didn't he just let him say it? Who cares? Like, who really cares, dude? Like, who really cares?
how much the nickname bothered him, and they doubled down. What he didn't realize was that every time he gave the reaction they wanted, he only encouraged them further. The harassment didn't stop at chat spam. Trolls escalated their efforts to much more serious levels. Wings became a victim of swatting, where false calls were made to police in order to send them to his house. This incident was not just disruptive to his streams, but also dangerous, since law enforcement responding to fake emergencies could easily have led to tragedy.
That's way too much. Oh, so it actually did happen. Holy shit.
Dude, he legit got swatted. I'm pretty sure.
There were also endless food deliveries sent directly to his home, another method designed to humiliate him. Sometimes he would receive odd single items, like just a hamburger bun, while other times it would be bags of salads or random meals.
A hamburger bun. Oh, that's great.
Really? Alright, I'm not gonna give that a dignified response. Watch, here it is right here. Here's your salad. In the trash.
God, look at how fat and disgusting he is. Holy shit.
Dude, I didn't ask for DoorDash to begin with. Oh. And then on top of things,
heavy breathing.
They sent me a salad without salad dressing and shit like that.
A salad without salad dressing.
Let's make it real. Hey baby, can you bring us some Mountain Dew?
Each delivery was meant to remind him of the trolling community's obsession with his weight and eating habits. These kinds of stunts showed how relentless the trolls were. It wasn't just online insults anymore. They had learned how to blur the line between digital harassment and real-world disruption, and for Wings, it became a constant battle to keep his streams on track while under siege. Around this point in 2017, Wings began talking more seriously about undergoing weight loss surgery. His struggles with his weight had been an ever-present part of his online persona, often the subject of both his own discussions and the ridicule of others.
Alright, we're going to stop right here. So, this is part one. Before we get into this story, I think this is a perfect time to stop. So, I will be recording part number 2 right now. If you made it this far, look for part 2. Also, hit sub, like, comment, all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.